Yeah. Vainglorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United front.
Tell it.
What you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square solid and your circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick your can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And UF with KBA is a win-win. 1K.
I love paper like a fax machine. No rims on the whip, but I still keep it waxed and clean. The little armor roll on them ties to give it that gleam. I'm on my grown man shit, I ain't trying to be seen. Real hitters on they calm shit, know what I mean. You stacking paper, but your source of income ain't clean. So why the fuck would you show off, bringing heat to yourself? You get bagged, you ask me, you defeated yourself. Had everybody in your business, from the bums to the bitches, to the snitches, to the cops, to the killers with the biscuits that'll trump you for them digits, or they might take it further. Kidnap one of your kinfolk, pay up or it's a murder. All that, cause you wanna show people you all that. Me, I fall back, let it all stack. Closet full of clothes, shoes on all racks. Walking real light, I ain't got nothing to prove, I'm just enjoying my life. Fly out to Vegas, I'm enjoying my nights. And the days that I stayed, ain't gotta let nobody know that I'm paid. It's a hit and run game, you either get in or get out, or you'll be on your way to the grave or the big house. And either one is fun, you'll find out when you get there. Wishing you picked a better career, a better career. Neither one is fun, you'll find out when you get there. Wishing you picked a better career, a better career.
We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it, or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it, or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it, or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it, or stay ignorant on that sheep shit.
Loose lips sink ships. When niggas start dropping knowledge, why you act like a bitch? You feeling tough? Swallow these pills, digest these gems. Chakra means wheels, the real spin is more than just rims. The first name of God in the Bible is Elohim, meaning these beings, we seeing reflections of them. You hear the mark of the beast, you hear that all the time. This is the mark of Yah, talk about that 999. Slice of ginger every day, B, it's good for your shine. When you charge up off that sun gazing, all the wicked go blind. The pale focus moon people, not the soul of design. That sensitivity, different soul, but everything's in the mind. Ether, water, fire, earth and air. 88 constellations, 64 squares. Know what you're living for, unlock the furious 5. Your hands tell on judgment day, all you've done when you were alive. This is an expose, are you fact or you fiction? Life is sacred and every action is your definition.
Listen, I suppress how I express when I smoke, cause most folk got depressed when I spoke. I expose the truth with proof in every choke. I cut the fat off the facts with acts I invoke. Every lyric revealing we the people need their healing. Putting power in political hands, but most concealing their weapons, their plans. Won't revolt the feet of land, but you'll vote for a man who stands on glass ceilings, or women who support the system in his talk and his plot to pick us off the planet with dark dealings. Damn it, you know they planned it. They underhanded, don't get caught and bought feelings. That's paid advertising, media making lies ring. Years of peers surviving, years of fears aligning, tears in your eyes dividing. Got you fighting for your life or sacrifice for providing. The love is the vice you devised in. Reestablish human status, reviving. Conscious like Joey Badass, revising. Life-loving legacy is pleasantly surprising. In times when the honey is heavy in your mind, man, I take a toke and choke from my folk like Pac dropped the liquor for what he considered nigga. Never ignorant, getting goals accomplished, that's my trigger. And I ain't a monkey on the run with a gun or a rich cracker nigga. I'm an outlaw RBG gorilla. Outlaw RBG gorilla. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit. We expose secret. When you hear it, peep it. Or stay ignorant on that sheep shit.
Right. If it was ever a day where that song would be like the intergalactical, interstellar, intercosmic motivation, music, today would be that day.
Today, that day.
We are here to God Butte, our African retributionary minister of information, who still provides us with information from the ancestral realm. We are definitely here to pay ode and homage to one who sacrificed greatly to give us so much. So we're going to be sharing our reflections today, and we couldn't do it without one who sojourned in the ranks and rode to give us firsthand knowledge, experience, and to give insight on some of his walks with our Baba Chief Coker Senior. So I want to yield the floor as I introduce my brother, man. You understand what I'm saying? Who've been rocking with me these last couple of days on this divine conversation, elevated perspective, man. Let me give it up to Jesseling's own, man, 6th Ward's own, Reading PA's own, Muse Think's own, motivational vocal expression. It's Son the Great, the God correspondent. I see it. Look.
You see it? You see it. You see it. You know what I'm saying? Zulu, much respect. Honor to be on this show specifically. You know what I'm saying? Tupac was, you know what I mean? That's what it is. But, you know what I'm saying? This show is the reason why that song got done. You mean? The God is the reason why we even started talking about that, you know, and pushing that. So it is my honor and it is my duty to represent here on this show today. What's good? Peace to the God, war on the devil.
Peace to God, war on the devil. And now I want to yield the floor to a great mind. It don't matter where I do this. It don't matter what time I do this. It didn't matter which format that this was done. You know, the God always came through and gave us some of his, you know, experiences on his walk on the path. So whether I was on Blog Talk or whether we're here you know, the call went out and our Baba's here. You see what I'm saying? One who walks it like he talks it, one who empowers us through technology, one who empowers us on so many levels here to, you know, continue to be a champion, to uplift us, to empower us, you know, a true spokesman, you know, for our people, a master teacher, a Jegna, an author, and so many other things. Man, let me yield the floor to our Baba, man, out there getting some of that California sunshine, and you're going to bless us with some of that melanated greatness at this time, because my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some present to others, man. The man, the myth, the legend, the mastermind, our Baba, Siddiqui Bakari in the building, man.
Hello.
Greetings, brother. Greeting, brothers. How y'all doing?
Hey, man.
Good guy, how are you?
Man,
Live and kicking them.
excellent, man. I'm just honored to be on the show. First of all, it's just an honor to know that our brother Steve Coakley is being revered. He's being honored. He's being remembered, you know, in the way that he should be revered, honored, and remembered. But not just that, that his students and people that was around him consistently, people who know him, people who were there during certain points and periods of his life, and people who was there at the end as well. You know, we all have things that we took with us, that he left us, that he gave us willingly, because he saw something in us, obviously what we saw in him. So it's just an honor, man, to have these memories, to have things that I can take with me moving forward, that you know, represents and respects who our brother Steve Coakley was and is, because he lives through all of us who's doing righteous work.
Okay. So take us back, Baba. Take us back to your initial reception, or the initial connection with Baba Steve, either personally or through information, however you want to go. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Give us a walk.
All right. Well, first of all, Steve was accessible, right? He was very accessible. I don't know if a lot of people know this about him, despite the things that he talked about, the boule, certain aspects of politics, pulling the curtain, so to speak, of what was going on as far as current events, history, things of that nature, how the government was moving forward. Yet this brother was accessible, despite being top of the government's list, CIA, FBI, and so on and so forth. He was accessible. So my first dealing with him, if I remember correctly, was in Leimert Park. So people in Los Angeles are very familiar with Leimert Park, even around the country. So Leimert Park is a place that you definitely have to experience, you know, if you're into Black culture, certain forms of consciousness and things of that nature. You can find that in Leimert Park, drumming, things of that nature, the cultural side of it, African attire and different things of that nature. So he was there every Sunday. And again, accessible. Also, during the week, he was at Sportsman Park, which is now called Jesse Owens Park. He was there during the week, always playing chess. Anyone who knows Steve played chess like consistently, like almost every day. Steve was playing chess. But I met him in Leimert Park. Obviously, when you're in these circles of consciousness, activism, organizing, you know, scholarly academia, things of that nature, grassroots academia, you know, you're going to run into the people who's already doing it. So this is what happened. So obviously, I met him, you know, in the park, and from there, you know, we had a relationship, so to speak. Obviously, I was a student; he was the teacher. And one thing about Steve did not trust a lot of people, and in this line of work, that's a good characteristic to have. So he didn't trust a lot of people. You definitely had to earn his trust, gain his trust. He had to see, you moved in a certain way. Um, so that's the thing about Steve. So, over time, obviously, he felt he could trust me based on the work I was doing. Obviously, he vetted me like he would vet anyone else. And what he got back was things that obviously he felt was honorable and integrity, things he could trust. So from that point, I began going to his, lectures live in person and, all of those different things. We had conversations in Leimert Park, obviously. Um, Even my first book, and this goes back to the 90s, but even my first book, which was written in 2007, he was a person who I took the book to. And basically, he read every page of the book right in Leimert Park. We sat on the bench and he gave the thumbs up. And at that point, I knew the book was ready. So I'm giving this type of background so people understand, like, even though Steve was this huge figure for us, he was a person that was just down to earth, man. Like, you could approach him, like anybody could just approach him and ask him a question, or he was amongst the people. That's the point I'm making. He was amongst the people, so you had access to him, and it's because of that access that people like myself have been able to develop in the ways that we've been able to develop. But also, I do have to mention some other people out here in LA who was really, close with Steve. Brother Sarah, brother Stephen, brother Okira, Andre Parvenu, brother Jamal, and there's tons of other people, man, Carl Nelson. So it's tons of other people that was really close to brother Steve. And through all of our connections, obviously, this is how we end up connecting with one another and other people as well. So that just gives a little history. That surface level history. Obviously, is some things that we could definitely get deeper into. But definitely, I just want people to understand that he was a people's person. He was a community person. Like, he gave his entire being to us, to the people, to the world. That's how he lived his life. To make sure that we could better ourselves, to make sure we understood the things that we would never understand, watching the news and dealing with media and dealing with politics and, mainstream education and things of that nature. So he was one who basically put his life on the line for his people. And I always respect him, honor him, revere him for that, and also the things that, he helped to imprint in my consciousness for my journey, which I'm passing on as well to my students.
Much respect.
So you had a question, because I got a bunch.
No. Go ahead. Right. I'm student right now. I got statements. I don't have questions. I got statements, and I'm just sitting back enjoying being on screen right now with y'all and listening. So I'm on my student joint right now.
So if you could take a few moments, few memorable moments, or either they your takeaways or some actual experiences that you wanted to share to kind of highlight your experience and your walk, under the tutelage, direct tutelage of Baba Steve with the family. What would they be?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm a direct reflection and descendant of him and his scholarship. And I think that's very important to know. First of all, when we talk about Steve and what he brought to the table, is certain attributes that have to be understood, right? Discipline, consistency, focus, fearlessness, confidence, and courage. All right. So these are things that he walked with. So if you spent any amount of time with him, these things were going to definitely rub off on you if they didn't already exist in you. Now, I'm saying this so people understand to be at that type of level, those things have to be part of the process. All right. Now we know Steve had a political background, so to speak, in Chicago. So there were things that he knew that a lot of grassroots people did not know. He knew because he was part of that system at one time, working in that system. So there was things that he knew that he brought to the table and were able to critically analyze things that many of us may have not known or may have not had the ability to, because we wouldn't have the type of knowledge and information necessary to be able to do so. So one memory I can definitely speak of is I had a venue at the time called Nappy Tongue. And, you know, even though it was spoken word, we really focused more on, you know, knowledge, implementation of that knowledge, you know, history, building for the future, and those types of things. So he was one of those guests that I would bring in to just go in on his particular mastery and knowledge that he brings to the table. So that's definitely one of the memories that I have. Most of the people who attended, you know, what we were doing at Nappy Tongue were college students, you know, young people, young brothers and sisters. So we had tons of college students, and primarily people were under 30 years old. So, you know, Brother Steve was coming in, and Brother Sarah would be the person who actually brought him. That's why I needed to mention these brothers. Brother Sarah was really, really important in regards to the work that Steve was doing out here in Los Angeles. But Steve would come and just lay it out. And, you know, it's things that I think a lot of people may not know that he would specifically say to me, like things that I can discuss publicly. Things like, you know, you don't eat food, security things. You don't eat food that you don't see prepared. That was one of the things that, you know, he really stressed, even though we may not follow it to the degree that we should. But that definitely was one of the things that he stressed, like don't eat food that you don't see prepared, right? It's like if you out, don't take a drink from someone that you didn't see the drink being prepared. You know what I mean? So those type of security things, like also he just imparted things like oh my goodness, what is this called? When they're doing the they're getting signatures, petitions, right? He, you know, he talked to me about, matter of fact, this was a on the spot learning, so to speak. We're in Lamar Park. So people have a petition that they're getting people to sign. They're, you know, having a petition going around the park. I don't remember exactly what it was for. It has something to do with police terrorism. So people were getting names and numbers and things of this nature for the petition. Steve looks at me and Steve says, did you sign that petition? And I was like, well, yeah, I signed a petition. And he was like, so why would you do that? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, do you know what these petitions are for? And I said, well, yes. And he was like, besides what you think, right? So I'm like, all right, well, you know, break it down to me. So he was like, so where do the petitions go? And this is how Steve was. Like Steve was very step by step. All right. So where do you think the petitions go? So we went through that conversation, right? Then he said, okay, so if that's where they go, what are they for? So now the conversation comes up about basically when they want to monitor you. What is the term? When the government wants to monitor people. Surveillance, all right? So basically these petitions are for surveillance and counterintelligence. All right? So from that point forward, obviously I never signed another petition. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there's not other reasons petitions may be useful, but I'm saying from a perspective of dealing with counterintelligence, it's not a good thing to do. You understand? Because now they know where a person politically stands, what they're against, what they're for. You understand what I'm saying? So again, so those are things from a standpoint of security. So these are the type of things that I would learn from him consistently, right? Just terrain. Anybody who's read George Jackson should be familiar with when you deal with terrain and knowing your terrain and the power of when you know your terrain, what that means from a standpoint of military warfare, things of that nature, right? Just how you move. So this was also something that Steve would impart as well. Just understanding your terrain, what's around you, knowing what's around you at all times in that terrain. So those are things that he would impart. Um, some memories that I have as well is towards the end, a lot of people didn't really understand what was going on. There was a lot of misinformation on the internet and things of that nature. I knew because I was there. Sarah knew because he was there. Brother Stephen knew because he was there. Okira knew because he was there. Ashra Kwesi knew because he was there. All right. So some of the memories I have is just the conversations that we had towards the end when he was definitely getting better. I'm not going to get into the circumstances of those things, but all I'm going to say is he was definitely getting better. So the way it ended definitely, I think is problematic, right? Obviously, to talk about those things, you have to have proof. So I'm only going to talk about what I know, and what I know is he was getting better. All right, and we had plans. He hadn't done a lecture in a period of time because he was healing and getting better. So what people don't know, except for those people who were going to be involved, is we were setting up some major, I guess you could say like seminars where we were going to have some, different types of speakers. Obviously, him and Ashra Kwesi were going to be the featured speakers, and we were going to do that around the country. So that's what was planned, and that definitely was going to be a shift as far as our consciousness is concerned as a people. So those conversations that we had and the organizing of that, are memories that I have and I hold, dear to my heart. Just the things that we talked about, which I won't talk about those things on air because those things were for me and whoever else was there as far as how we move forward and things that we should be doing and how we're going to do them. But definitely, man, anyone who's listening, if you are not familiar with Steve Coakley's work, get familiar with Steve Coakley's work. What he was doing in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, prior to his becoming an ancestor, those things are so relevant today.
Right now.
Will be relevant 50 years from now. All right. So we have to get the foundation for the things that's happening today. You need to know about these families and all the other things that's going on, and who's really running the government versus what the government is not. What this political landscape really means, what it doesn't mean. What voting means, what it doesn't mean. We need to know all of those types of things. Self-reliance. Why are these things so important? Why is the history important as far as us moving forward? Those are things that we need to know. And he has a rich, exponential, expansive legacy of work. And we've studied his work. And we know what's happening today based on his work. So definitely get familiar with his work. Don't think it's old because it's the 80s, the 90s, or 2000s or whatever. It's just as new as any other scholar out here, talking about so-called Illuminati and all these different things. His work is the groundwork. They should be thanking him if that's the type of work that they're doing. They should always mention his name. They should always revere him. I always honor and revere my teachers. Coakley was one of them. He is an ancestor now. Amiri Baraka was one of them as well. That's my artistic side, my organizing activism side. So Amiri Baraka is an ancestor. Ashra Kwesi, who is here with us right now, he is my direct teacher. you should know all of their work. And of course, Ashra Kwesi's wife, who is phenomenal as well. You should know their work. All of that is very necessary. And it's because of them that I've been able to create what I've been able to create, to understand how to create it, to be confident in being in my own lane. Like, just so people understand, I didn't just get out here and start talking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I sent these people I'm telling you about right now, I sent my work to them so they could critique my work.
Mm-hmm.
So I got constructive criticism from day one. When I was doing interviews, Steve Coakley would call me after an interview and critique me and tell me, look, these are things that you could do better, or this is how you deal with commercial breaks, dealing with interviews as far as mainstream type media type. There's going to be commercial breaks, how you get what you need to get in that commercial break. Certain things that he taught me that you're not going to know unless you learn that from someone. So these are things that, you know, would be imparted. But I just want people to know, like, I went to the best of what we have. You understand? When you deal with a writer, when you deal with art, Amiri Baraka was the, if not the best, one of the best that we have. When you deal with history, Ashra Kwesi is the best, if not the best, one of the best that we have, right? And when you deal with Coakley, if not the best, one of the best that we have. Now, I think they all were the best, all right? So I could be a little biased because obviously those are my teachers, right? So I get it. But for me, they're the best. And I seek them out. I wanted to learn from the best. I didn't have a problem being criticized constructively from them. I didn't have a problem because I wanted to be better. I wanted to learn from the best. And I understood I was the student. They were the teachers. And even now that I am a teacher, I understand that I'm still a student as well. Your best teachers are the best students. You understand? Your best teachers are always students. That's why they keep evolving. That's why they can keep bringing you exponential information. That's why they have their own lane and you don't see anyone like you see them. It's only one Steve Coakley. It's only one Amiri Baraka. It's only one Ashra Kwesi. You understand? And I can go on and on and on because I have many other influences. But those are the main three. All right? So I just think it's important that we get these lessons more than anything. Like we should honor and revere certain ancestors. We should, for their life's work and what they brought to the table. But most importantly, we should implement those things. Otherwise, we just romanticizing them. By implementing those lessons, those teachings, by implementing those things, that's how they live. They live through us. You understand? That's where we have to be. It's not just about, yeah, I knew Steve Coakley and blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot of that. We got to live certain aspects of these people's lives. That fearlessness, we got to have that fearlessness. Like I always been on the record, if we talking about whatever we talking about, Black Power, whatever people are talking about, you better be fearless. If you're not, you just talking. If you're not out here doing the work, you just talking. If you don't have a history of this work that you're talking about, you just talking. We got to have implementation. When you look at Steve Coakley, what did you see? Implementation. Amiri Baraka, what did you see? Implementation. Ashra Kwesi, what do you see? Implementation. You see people who have always been willing to put their lives on the line for whatever reasons they were willing. And if you're not willing to do that, as well as live, then you shouldn't be out here talking. It's a fine line. And I don't want to seem like I'm, quote unquote preaching, but I just got to say it for what it really is, because these people live their lives for the people. And I'm not so sure that the people appreciated them the way they should be appreciated. Obviously, y'all brothers are right here, of course. But in general, we got a lot of cheerleaders. We don't need cheerleaders.
That's real.
We need people out here doing this work. And anybody can check my record. Check it. Please do. check my record, vet me if you like. You're going to find the truth. That's what you're going to find. You're going to find that work. And that's what I'm saying. So we revere and we honor these brothers and sisters by our work. That's what it's about. Our work.
Mhm.
If it's no work, no right to speak. We always say that. Let's live it. No work, no right to speak. If you're not out here serving the people or assisting the people, don't talk about it.
Facts.
The background is the background. It is what it is. The history is the history. It is what it is. Documentation is documentation. That's what Steve Coakley brought. Documentation over conversation.
Mhm.
All day. Documentation. That's what the brother brought. He was one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to research.
Mhm.
Period. I know this firsthand. I've seen it
Mhm.
with my own eyes. I know how this brother researched. I was there. I learned some of those idiosyncrasies. Now, this is before the internet was a big thing. Coakley did not do the internet like that. Coakley did that research with books,
Mhm.
newspapers, right? Same thing with Amiri. You talking about people who wake up and have all these different newspapers on the table. Research. So they had their own perspective, but they also understood all the narratives that the media was attempting to shove down our throats and everything else that was put on the table. Real research, real scholarship. That's what I learned from the brother. How to research. People don't even know how to research, but we have all these examples of how to research. That's why so much propaganda comes through the internet, and we're helping them push that propaganda.
Mhm.
We won't even just look to see who wrote the article. What type of newspaper, what type of publication is it?
Mhm.
We won't even look to see. And it's imperative that we do those things. Whoever wrote the article, what's their political stance? What's their cultural stance? What's their previous articles about? Do they vilify Black people? Are they against A, B, C, D? We don't even do that research. We just take it as if it's quote unquote factual or truth. So again, one of the greatest researchers, if not the greatest researcher. And I've been around some of the most phenomenal researchers, being Ashra Kwesi, Amiri Baraka, right? And I can go on and on with that list, but I'm just keeping that short list so people understand. Like, these are the best of the best. And I'm not just talking about our people, period.
Right. Right.
Because we need to make that distinction sometimes. Not just our people, period. For those of us who love white people, period. Better than them too. Matter of fact, a lot of those white people are only there, they're researching anyway. When you research and you do scholarship, you understand that. Every now and then they might give them the proper credit, but usually they don't. So Steve Coakley was on the forefront, period. Period. And when you get Steve Coakley and Amiri Baraka together, Steve Coakley and Ashra Kwesi together, which did happen.
Yeah.
When you get them together, man, it's no words to even explain that or describe that. Because what those two brothers bring to the table, and for them to be in one room, lighting up that room like that, illuminating people's consciousness like that, and let it be known, Ashra Kwesi was there at the end. He was there.
Right.
He came from where he's from. He was there. And I think this is important for people to know, like, it's really brotherhood. It's brotherhood. He got the call. He was there. So,
Yeah.
you know, those are things that I just have to communicate and I have to express. Man, it's just about living these people's works, man. At the end of the day, like I think about him every day. You understand? Like that's how much he's part of me. One way or another, every day I think of him. Every day. He's part of me. I'm who I am partly because of him. So every day I give honor, reverence, and respect to Steve Coakley, ancestor Steve Coakley. Not just on his birthday. You understand? Every day. I know my life is connected to his spirit. I know that. I know that's why his son and I connected. You see what I'm saying? And even in mentioning his son, I always tell him that how proud his father would be of him.
Right.
For him to do what he's doing, for him to go to the continent, to go to Ghana and set up shop.
Yeah.
Building. Like I know, like his father, this is what his father taught, you know, Pan-Africanism. To repatriate and to make that move and make it happen. Like you can't do nothing but respect that. But it lets
get
you
it out
know.
of the mud.
Yes. It lets you know.
Get it out of the mud, not go to something that's established now. Get it out of the mud.
And that's exactly what he did from the ground up. Straight up from the ground up. And he did it because of the people. The people helped him do it.
Right.
And he came through. And he's still continuing to come through because that brother's over there creating.
Right.
We thought it was just a think tank building. Now it's 2 buildings.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, that brother, he got some things in store. He's a mastermind. So, you know, of course, his father is in him. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So I'm just grateful to have that history with his father. I'm grateful to, you know Steve, be in contact with Steve. Also to build with Steve. He's come to LA, so at some point we're gonna have to go to Ghana. We're gonna have to do it. I don't know when, but we got to make it happen. But yeah, so I'm really proud of Steve. I'm really proud of him, what he's become, what he's been doing. Those are huge shoes to fill. And I think what he understood is he didn't need to fill those shoes.
Right.
He just needed to stay in his shoes.
Right.
And he's done an excellent job, man. He's done an excellent job.
I know his mom is watching right now, so shout out to our Queen Mother, Queen Mama Nataki.
Yes, I had the pleasure of meeting her as well. Here in LA. I don't know if she remembers, but she allowed me to have something that meant a lot to me. Some of Steve's books. And I don't know if she knew how important it was at that time, but it was like, that was really important to me. Because I think if I was given anything of him, like, I think that's the greatest symbol. Books, research, learning. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, just, you know, I'm just grateful for all of it. And you mentioning her as well, right? Because when we talk about Steve, obviously she had a major role in all of that.
Right.
And I think oftentimes people don't understand the role of wives, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Right. And what they have to sacrifice to be with a man of that stature and magnitude. So when we honor and revere him, we should also honor and revere her. I think that's important. Because obviously she had to make sacrifices. Obviously there were children.
Right.
And if Steve is all over the country, who's taking care of the children?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Who's raising the children? So definitely.
Who dealing with the scrutiny? Who dealing with
all of it?
Right? Who dealing with all of it? Yeah.
All of it. A man
and to still be around. She's still here with us.
Still
you
here.
Know what I'm saying? So, you know, if we have folks that are Steve Coakley-ites that are out there. I mean, he's still got a family in existence out
Yes,
here, you know,
absolutely,
sons and a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Queen Mother is with us, and they,
absolutely,
you know, they got initiatives, they got programs. You see what I'm saying?
absolutely.
They got things going on. So if you're going to support the legacy, support the legacy. You know, this is something that oftentimes that gets lost too. You know,
Yes,
we would love Malcolm and not honor Betty, and then these
yes,
6 daughters that's left on the planet. You understand
right,
what I'm saying? Like
Right.
right.
what you know, what's going on with that? So you know, we would put that together. You know,
Yes,
we would love Dr. Khaled and his children are still here.
right.
You see what I'm saying? So all of these, you know, children of our liberation struggle, they're here, most of them.
Absolutely.
You know, so there's a lot to go with that. I definitely wanted to speak to that, but I also wanted to ask you for the time because we understand that everything goes in time frames. So there was a time frame where Baba Steve was one of the most requested lecturers.
Right.
So he got thousands of lectures on the books. Some we know, some we don't know. You know, there's no way we've seen all of them. You see what I'm saying? These are thousands of them. You see what I'm saying? So did he ever share with you, or did you kind of witness what it was like during the decline, where you know he was getting booked out and people were coming out in the droves to see him, and then dealing with those times where he was prevented from speaking at places, prevented from coming on interviews and you know access to college campus and to that same base in regards to that, you know, did he kind of share anything with you during those times, or did you witness anything that you could share with us in regards to how he kind of dealt with that in those times? Because publicly we've seen it with Dr. Khaled. You see what I'm saying? We listened to, if we wasn't physically in the space, we listened to at a turning point, you know, in my life. So we seen it. We got a chance to wear that. You see what I'm saying? Like, so for him being a very private, security minded person, he wouldn't show his hand like that. But I did, you know, hear some things. But you know, if you could share some of that, if you can, if you're not, if not, then that's cool. But you know what I'm saying? I just would want the people to know, you know, what it costs out here sometimes.
Well, it definitely costs a lot. And you know, one thing that you learn doing these types of things is savvy. You got to be savvy. You're gonna have to be savvy. One thing I can share is this, and this is not just regarding Steve, but just all the African Center scholars dealing with whatever particular topics they were dealing with around that time. There was an attack on Black student unions and African student unions across the country. And that's where the scholars mostly were getting booked, as far as if you want to talk about really making great abundance. All right. So the way the story was passed down to me, and I'm not going to say who told me, that person can speak that for him or herself. So the way it got passed down to me is that someone took our brother Ashra Kwesi's videotape. It was videotapes at the time. Worked at one of these universities and took the tape to some Jewish cat, basically bragging on the knowledge. So from that point, we know what happened. Everything got shut down. So you had, you know, all of the scholars at that time, whether it was Coakley, Kwesi, Khalid Muhammad, Runoko Rashidi, on and on and on and on, that circuit pretty much got shut down. So that was one of the major issues. So once you shut down the college circuit or the university circuit, you just shut down an entire stream of income for a lot of these scholars. All right. This is different than going to the grassroots community spot. Like, I think people need to understand that when you go to universities, they have packages for you. You understand? So they may have a $5,000 budget for you to come speak. So that budget may mean your plane ticket, hotel stay, per diem, food, things of that nature, getting you from point A to point B, and then the rest will be your stipend for speaking. So after you get a plane ticket and all the other things I just mentioned, hotels, of that 5,000, you may still have 4 G's left.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're given for speaking. All that got shut down. So you can do the math on that. Say you going to universities 2 or 3 times a month.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now all that's completely shut down because of one brother who took an Ashra Kwesi videotape to some Jewish cat at that university who worked there. And of course, we know it just went up the chain from there. So from my understanding, that's what shut down the college circuit, so to speak. Eventually, obviously, it came back, but it's never been the same. Okay, so that's what we need to understand. Those stipends may not be the same, or they'll just be for a particular type of speaker. All right, so obviously, community grassroots things are wonderful. Sometimes they just need to be organized better, being that we don't just have, government stipends that's being given to us to these Black student unions or African student unions. You see what I mean? Now, there's some other things involved as well. When you start getting into LGBTQ 1, 2, 3, 4, and all these other things, this is another conversation here, because now you start seeing that co-opting the African organizations as well as the Black organizations on those campuses. So now it's difficult for them to have those organizations without infusing these other types of mindsets. Okay, so that's a major issue as well. Now, where was all of this money going once it stopped going, obviously, to the Black and the African student unions? It started going to all the multiculturalist stuff, all the LGBTQ stuff, right? All the political things that was happening. So the funding was going there. Now, also, what people may not know is, and I know this from firsthand communication with people who headed Black student unions and other types of student unions as well across the country. So there are certain programs that they would have set up for them to go to learn how to do certain paperwork and to fill out certain paperwork to get grants for their student unions, right? Now, for some reason, the Black student unions didn't seem to know that these things were going on and were happening. So they were primarily just being allotted money from whatever the university gave them, versus other student unions who are able to go to these trainings, know what paperwork they need, how to fill out the paperwork to request this money, these grants. That's what was taking place. So you bring in people from the Democratic cabinet or Republican cabinet, you bring in somebody for $100,000 to answer scripted questions, and you're only going to be there for 30 minutes. That's the type of things that were happening. But then when you have, our scholars, you're lucky if it's $1,000 grant or stipend.
Right.
So these are the type of games that were being played. A lot of people don't understand this, including those student organizations, Black and African student organizations. So what I'm saying, long story short, there were things strategically and intentionally, deliberately done to shut that down. So you don't have the Steve Coakleys, the Ashra Kwesis, and so on and so on and so on coming to these universities. Unless they still came anyway. You understand?
Right.
For $100 or $200. And sometimes that happened. Okay? Let me make that clear. Sometimes that happened because people just, they love what they do. Yes, yes, brother.
Yeah. So it brings up a point of for the people who don't know, the people who are watching this show and they don't know exactly the power that he held. what he was saying was so important that it had to be shut down by the opposition because you couldn't disclaim it. Have you ever seen, well, I know you have not ever seen, but how many times have you seen where somebody would come and think they were right or correct about something, and then he would just give him the truth? I mean, to me, reality is virtual, but the truth is evident. And you know, and there's no conspiracy when it's right in front of your face. All you got to do is research and see it. You know, like he said. So how many times have you seen that aspect happen, and how important was that information to the people so they know? I mean, we're speaking to people who just don't know. I mean, who is this Steve Coakley? Why you keep talking about him? You know what I mean? I just want you to touch on touch the importance to those people who are watching right now.
Well, I would experience that all the time, whether that was in person at his lectures, whether that was, and it's video on YouTube. People can go to YouTube when he's doing interviews. I forget which particular station, but it's national, like it's Prime TV.
Yeah.
And, he's totally dismantling the host on that show, the host and the guest. So I mean, you can see it firsthand. It's on YouTube. It has something to do with the Jewish question, if I remember correctly. So you can find that on YouTube. But I mean, his work documents and shows that all the time. Like if you just get familiar with his work, for the people who are listening or watching, if you just get familiar with his work, you will be accustomed to understanding much of what you've been taught was a lie. You need to learn what you've learned. You need to be deprogrammed and reprogrammed in order for you to understand really what's happening in this illusion. What they call reality is really an illusion.
Right.
And if you deal with his work, you'll understand that, especially dealing with politics and who's who and all those different things and different corporations and what they control and why they control it. Like these are things that people need to know. Like even when you deal with overt 19 or covert 19 is what I call it. Even when you deal with that, if you just really do the research, you will connect all the dots. He always talked about connecting the dots.
Yes.
All you got to do is follow the money. Go research the money.
Yeah.
Look at Black Lives Matter. Go research the money.
Yeah.
You'll find out everything you need to know. Go research the money and see where the money trail goes to. It's not going to someone that's about us. So this is what people need to understand. So he has tons of work that shows you what the conspiracies are. Now, when we say conspiracy is a good word. It's not a bad word. We need to stop acting like conspiracy means people don't know what they're talking about. Conspiracy means people know what they're talking about. Conspiracy means something has happened. Conspiracy means a group of people have come together to lie, cheat, steal, kill. That's what a conspiracy is. That means something happened. That's what we got to understand. Is when we say conspiracy, it's not about a theory. Something happened. You understand? So this is why they play games with the words.
And you culpable by law for conspiracy.
Exactly. They play games with these words. When you hear somebody say conspiracy, listen. Go do some research. All these staged events that we see happening are conspiracies. They're happening. And guess what? People die in conspiracies. When you hear the word hoax, don't think that means something didn't happen. People die in hoaxes. Staged events are hoaxes because it's something that's not what you think it is.
Right.
You understand? All these things, stage actors, all these things. Look this
They're
stuff
listening
up.
to them devils too. You know what I'm saying? Right? They're listening to them devils wholeheartedly.
Exactly.
They're listening to the Michael Moores and
listen to them.
All the rest of them devils. They're listening to the Alex Jones and the rest of them devils.
They got something for you because they got a war going on within themselves.
Yeah.
For power. See, people got to understand how the game is played. You think they just at war with us. They're at war with themselves. But see, they know how to fight without you knowing and being involved in their fight. That's the difference. We fight amongst each other and act as if they're not in the middle of whatever it is that we're dealing with.
Right.
Black relationships, unity, whatever it is we want to talk about. Cultural, they in the middle of it, pulling strings. But because of self-hate, we hating each other instead of understanding somebody's pulling the strings and we need healing. You understand?
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah. So listeners, go. However you get it from Steve Coakley Jr. He got much of his work with what he's doing. So if you get in contact with Steve Coakley Jr., you can get a lot of these
and you got hundreds of
videos
lectures that we never seen before that wasn't made.
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
To the public.
Yes, you can get them from his son.
Yeah.
And that also helps support what they're doing in Ghana.
Yeah.
So do that. If do that. Get the work from his son.
Yeah, get the work directly from the son, right?
Get the work from the son. I know that
you ain't never seen Steve Coakley in person. You look at his son, you'll see him.
Yeah, that's true.
Face to face.
Absolutely. So I understand YouTube is out here and you can see certain things on YouTube, but it's certain things that you cannot see on YouTube. You have to get it from the son.
Right.
And those are pivotal lectures. I have them. Some of them I was at in person. So just make that something that you do. Make that a priority, to give yourself that knowledge, even if you already have it. I guarantee you it's some things there that's going to connect the dots that you were not connecting before. I can watch things now or read things now, and I still learn from things that he said.
Right.
And I'm very familiar with his work. Right. So like I was there for his last presentation here in LA. So trust me, I know. Yeah. And when I tell you the work is phenomenal, I'm well studied. I've studied so many scholars, our scholars, everybody else scholars. This brother is A1. His work is A1.
So my next question is,
let me play the clip real quick.
Okay.
So we could get because look, you was ready. I could see
it. So I got it. I'm gonna remember when it was done. Yeah.
So I wanted to give them a sample of one of my favorite joints, but I'll play that after we get this GodVersation on. So I'll play this one just so you can see the heart and the soul.
In those 10 hours, if I have not convinced you now, in spite of all of the efforts over all of these years to stop critical information about the enemy from being relayed on a grassroots level, if I have not convinced you by now, I will never convince you. After I left here in the last program, I listened to some of the commentary in regards to the 10 hours worth of information that I had presented here and in other places that was accessible to the people. The information, the best I can tell in lieu of any challenge to repudiate it, is beyond reproach. One's personal feelings about how they had to swallow or accept or listen to the things that I say in carrying those facts have found that it is not the convincing of the information that will make us move. The facts are irrefutable. But the enemy is so wise that it becomes the personality of the bearer of the information that stops the people from beating the enemy that kicks them all day and all night. I listened to some of the laughter and I felt so bad for the victims because the leadership I know does what it must do. so that it can contain and control the people from beating the specific honkies that got the money, the 0.1% of the population that controls 72% of the wealth. That 0.1% pays a lot of money to be protected, and it protects itself in some very subtle, unusual, and almost happenstantial ways. That happenstantial disengagement or disrespect of the knowledge is what our community has suffered from. If you watch Garvey, I stand here and talk to you 5 hours about Cecil Rhodes. Pick up philosophy and opinion, and there's Garvey on Cecil Rhodes. But you don't know Garvey for fighting Cecil Rhodes, because the leadership had to assure that he was not the subject. It's Du Bois versus Garvey. When it came down to Malcolm X, and Malcolm had kicked to the point of wanting to get at the jugular vein of the hunky, the last speech. It's not Elijah Muhammad. It's the international white power structure that's headquartered in New York, Paris, England, etc. And they were imperial, colonial remnants, and they continue. And he said it, but the last speech was stricken from the record by Spike Lee as incoherent. And the result was, it was Malcolm versus Elijah. Every time the engagement comes, here is Coakley versus Amos Wilson. It's not Coakley versus the honky, because Coakley gonna kill the honky. And Coakley doesn't want to have to beat or abuse his own people for the privilege to kill the honky, because the honky gone. Nothing, no ridicule, no misstatements without documentation, no petty little frivolous little laughter that I heard on those tapes was the sickest thing I ever heard from a people with no force. You sit up and look at an election, and each and every time, I don't care if it's Dinkins, Good, Brown, I don't care who it is, what they win, I don't care if it's the African group, the religious group, we have failed somehow to stop the honky. And all I ever want in life is the privilege to fuck him up. That's all I want. Now, if you're going to get in my way and I'm going to fuck the honky up, I might end up having to fight with you on the way for the right to beat the honky. But I don't want to beat you. But I might if I have to. And I will accept the abuse and the disrespect of me and the information for the right to fulfill the mission. I am beyond the sensitivity of your opinions. It will not change the honky. He is advancing without hesitation. Look at the honky. It's the honky right here in the neighborhood. I was just in Boston last night, and New York Times bought the Boston Globe, so it's the same honky. Colonialism is back, and not a moment too soon. Anybody know anything about this article? Y'all read under this? Yeah, it was in the Times, it sure was, but it said that honky getting ready to take Africa. But ain't we got nobody on the shift called Africa? Ain't nobody on shift called Africa, point Africa. We got religious point, political point, African point. But no, it's Coakley versus the brother. While the honky advances. Honky say, nigga so confused, I can tell him in his face, I'm gonna take his ass. Because he got people in place to assure that the analogy remains brother versus the brother. I know the strategy. I go all over this city, just the faces and the names who bear it change. If I had to pressure your ass tomorrow, the spy network in our community is so easily to find and to flush out, we could beat you and burn you in 30 seconds flat. And prove you are who you are. We have people in some of these places that type out your vouchers. This is deep penetration. I want to tell you the game we playing with the honky ain't no joking shit. A lot of people have died for the right to play the game. I don't know what you in it for. Maybe this is what you do after work, on the weekend. Go home and read the books. But I don't know. I have fought and lost for the right to fight the honky all day long. I do and fit just as I see. I have fought and earned the right. Lost 4 or 5 jobs, lost family, lost respect. I've been disrespected by some of the best of them. That's why I don't depend on them to do the things some of you think they're supposed to do. They're not coming. The voucher's bigger than you ever think. You will greatly, years from now, underestimate who all was in on the big thing. Damn near they're all on it. Or they've decided for the protection of themselves. Security. Security that in actuality they cannot even guarantee. You can't say, if I don't fuck the honky, I'm gonna live a little longer, because you could get hit by a car, struck by a fishbone. It doesn't matter. You are in no control of your destiny, so quit fucking around being afraid. What are you afraid of? You have no guarantee on the life you live, so why not let loose a little? Just a little. If not, if the honky can say this, no honky suffered for this. You know what the honky saying? We are witnessing today the revival of colonialism in a new form. It's a trend that should be encouraged. Fuck. Do you all remember colonialism? Y'all happen to remember this shit? That's what made the different complexions in our skin color. They fucked us. They took the land and set up an illegal enterprise. And now they got this shit so set up, they're fighting reverse discrimination. Man, I just don't understand it. So I ain't gonna spend the 5 hours laying no more of the proof, because the proof is solid. I'm gonna share with you some deeper penetrations, some personal things we've done to give you a little idea about how deep we end up on the honky. And the facts are solid. The people we're after, the people that 15 years ago, somehow some strange little blurry information put me on, the people I fingered all that time ago turned out to be just the honkies that we was after. But if I was to share with you the times I've been cut off the radio, the times I've been denied. I was just in Boston. The black paper ran that I was speaking, called me a speaker from DC. They would not even print my name because the owner of the paper is in the boule. I mean, you know, it does not mean that the information is wrong. It's just that the people who have to live and abide by the rules of the prosperity and opportunity that they chose really did it at the expense of the rest of us. And we've just never set up a retaliatory mechanism to get it straight. They didn't fuck around and pull Mandela out of jail until they burned the collaborators. No honkies got beat. They did not kill honkies and make them go get Mandela. They killed the buffer to the honky. The pressure on the buffer to the honky. Do you know that I'm banned on radio in Washington, D.C. in an all-black owned station? I'm banned. Why am I banned? Because the motherfuckers in the boule called down there and told them take his ass off. So now, instead of getting 1,000 people out of the election, I have to work 2 weeks to get 500. Not because the information is less, but because I'm going to be denied the opportunity. Ain't nobody ever stepped up and said, well, let me tell you about this part of what you said. It's just, we're not going to have that. I used to be banned on the radio in Chicago. I remember walking on the street fighting for black women who had been injected with a drug called Dilantin. 278 women, 4 of them died, 2 of the kids died, and I was banned on the black radio in the town for the people I was standing up defending. We even won the case. The ladies got $1.4 million, but brother couldn't even go on his own radio. People had to go on and replace me, and they couldn't even mention my name. And somehow, in spite of all of that, someone has to find the desire to keep going in spite of the agents in place. It's the understanding of knowing that they better get their ass out there. They better dehumanize this operation. They better call this brother the creator of conspiracies. They better. Because if they don't, brother's gonna kick that honky ass and I'm gonna beat them for being with them. It's gonna happen. Everybody hedges their bet. I'm gonna work with the honky, but be the African thing. That's hedging a bet. You are what is holding us back. I don't want you to misconceive this. Whites do what they're supposed to do. We do contradictory things. We just do strange things. It's costing people their lives too. I wanted to have a lecture at Howard on Columbus Day, but I couldn't because the school was closed. Now at Howard, they don't want Brother Coakley to give lectures there no more. Says, I don't know what, I only had 2 in the last year, but had a couple thousand people at them say something. Some they say you don't want Coakley to have no more lectures around at the rooms that were made available for the people in the community. The all-black university. Just left Howard Law School, standing at the door, still trying to keep Brother Coakley out, 2nd year in a row. Just got canceled from Grambling University. President said, I will not procure a check for Coakley to come to speak to the students. The black people, my own people. Never has anyone ever stood up with a document and said, brother, can I change your mind with the evidence? They said, brother, can I shorten your opportunity and lessen a person's chance to hear it? So, in spite of that, we'll share a few reflections about the depth of the hunky, and you tell me if you think he afraid of whatever he think we doing. You'll get a good impression of how he think when his moment is gonna come. And when his moment comes and the shit break out, all the other stuff we wish we had prepared for gonna bypass us. The gig will be up. Unless some of us, it won't have to be all of us, in spite of a few, will go forward and do the things that have to be necessary by constantly penetrating and reevaluating and focusing in on the core of the honkies, the core of negativity, the small little group of those that have to be dealt on to make something significant happen.
Peace, peace. Y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So it leads right into the question. Of course, I knew you was gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? It's GodVersation right here. So at all spots, at all time. That's God's mind. The effect that it has on your family members. You know certain things, but when you link with the brother Steve Coakley, I'm sure it expands on what you know, the signs, the symbols. You can peep it out as soon as it comes on. Oh, this is what this is. This is what this is. How has that affected your relationships with your family members? So that the people who know when you get this, because you're going to be responsible for what you know once you listen. You're responsible for this information, and you're responsible to do something. You're going to make that choice. You're going to be on that side that holds it down, that helps to hold down this information, or you're going to be on this side that lifts it up, pushes it up, and pushes it out there. How has that affected your family dynamics?
That's for me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, just in general, that'll be a dynamic, because when you deal with growth, consciousness, awareness, transformation, there's levels, right? It's different levels. People are going to be on different levels. So those who are not willing to grow, right? Who's not necessarily going through transformation, who's not really, working towards becoming more aware or higher levels of consciousness, there's going to obviously be tension. That's part of what we're dealing with, just from the standpoint of the intervening of the system itself, right?
Right.
Government itself, white ideology itself, the educational system, and every other system that's involved in it, politics, economics, so on and so forth. So that's just something that we're going to have to deal with. Now, at the end of the day, though, you get to a certain level and you have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Either You're going to continue with your purpose. So if your purpose is obviously to better yourself, your family, and your people, right, the community, then you have to move in that direction. And people who are not moving in that direction, they become an enemy by default. By default, not because you declare them one, but by default. Because by default, they're going to hate you. They're going to envy you. They're going to be jealous of you. Now, all of this is relative of self-hate and what, how we've been programmed and, you know, things of that nature in this Western hemisphere. So all of that is part of the situation. So this is why I always talk about how we have to take responsibility and accountability for ourselves first and foremost, and we need to heal. First and foremost, we need to heal. That's why we don't make certain decisions. It's decisions that we should make because we have not healed. We're dealing with trauma. You know, we're dealing with childhood trauma. We're dealing with fear. You know, we're dealing with insecurities. We're dealing with all the things that we're dealing with as a people. So we have to remedy that because the people who came in to intentionally make sure that happened systemically, they're not going to do it. So we have to do it. Now, that doesn't take away their responsibility and accountability, but obviously they're not going to be responsible and accountable for it.
Right.
We have to. We have to. So the more we're growing, the more we're healing, the more we're making these decisions to overstand our power, our worth, what we deserve, the focus becomes more on ourselves, if that makes sense. Now, obviously, we need to know what's happening behind the curtain and all of those other things. Obviously, that's why Coakley's work is just brilliant. It's genius. It's masterful. So it's this internal process that a person is dealing with, but then also is assisting us to understand the external part of it. So let me give you an example. Obviously, Coakley was fearless. Obviously, that's something internal. But that fearlessness helped him to be able to bring the things forward that he brought forward that most people would not dare talk about, especially publicly, especially call a spade a spade.
Right.
You understand? He had no problem saying honky. He had no problem saying who and what he was talking about. That's fearlessness. That's courage. That's understanding your mission, your vision, and your purpose. All right. So there's going to be issues. Is at the end of the day, when you make this decision, it's things that come with it. People are in fear. They're not coming with you.
Right.
You understand? They not. Matter of fact, they'll be the person that Steve was talking about in that clip. They'll be the person standing between you and the white boy, protecting the white boy, protecting the system. So we got to understand, we're not just dealing with white people. We're dealing with our own people who want to be more white than the whitest white person.
Yeah.
That's what we got to understand. That dysfunction, that sickness, that type of a mentality, that psychosis. We have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to. And he also talked about just being able to identify who these people are. And as you continue to grow, you get to a level where you can identify. They don't have to say a word.
Right.
You know by how they move. You know by their mannerisms. You know how they interact with you. You can tell who they are or who they aren't. You understand?
Yes.
So yes, you're going to have issues probably with family, friends, acquaintances, associates, and on down the line. There's going to be issues because people are just want to be comfortable. It's people who love their corporate job. They okay with being told what to do every day. They okay with not having their own vision. And I'm not saying it's anything wrong if somebody wants to work a corporate job. I'm not saying that. But for those of us who know we desire more, we desire more. We don't want people telling us what to do day to day. We want the ability to work when we want to work, the ability to be able to do vacations if we want to do vacations, the ability to wake up when we want to wake up. That's living life, not someone telling you when to wake up, not someone telling you when to take lunch, not someone telling you when to go to bed, not someone telling you when you're supposed to be at their corporate building. That's not life. So some people don't mind placating to the system. They're going to have a problem with you because they see all of their accomplishment in what the system has given them. I don't care how hard they work. The system gave it to them.
Yeah.
One way or another, the system gave it to them, period. And in many cases, they was just a quota anyway.
Right.
A quota. A lot of these brothers getting jobs, they're a quota. A lot of these sisters getting jobs, they're a quota. And then we fighting against each other over positions that white people can give a damn that you have. You just there holding space so they can look like they're not racist as hell.
Right, right.
So yes, you're going to have problems with family, friends, especially when you're really about this life. Yes, you will have issues. They will be trying to move you back into the system as much as they can. Oh, you get you a good job. Well, what the hell is a good job?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Who cares what you desire? Right? Who cares what you desire?
Right.
Who cares if you want to be your own business? They don't want to see you do that because they may have wanted to themselves and didn't have what it took to do it.
Exactly, exactly.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I live what you mean, what you saying right now. I live
Yes.
it. We've been having conversations, myself and my DJ. I as an artist, music wise, I only do liberation lyrics.
Yes.
And one of the things that I've found doing what I do is that what I'm saying is less receptive to the Black community. You know what I mean? Like white people, Indian, you mean from India, you know what I mean? All everybody else at times have walked up to me on the street and said, yo, the information you're giving is so powerful. I didn't know any of this. Da, da, da. They receive it. They hear it, they receive it. I mean, I'm not even talking to them. You know what I mean? I'm talking to my peoples, but when I'm talking to my peoples, they like, I don't want to hear that. And myself and my DJ was just having a conversation yesterday about how everything during this planned situation that we just been going through for the past 2 years, we knew it was coming. We told you what they were going to do. We told you how they was going to do it. We told you we ain't going for that. And for the people who want for that, now they going through all kind of issues, you know what I mean, and still getting the same thing. But every time we tell you something, you know what I mean, you're still questioning what we say. You're still arguing with us because you love the devil. He gives you nothing, and you love the nothing you get. You know what I'm saying? Where you have everything right in front of your face. So that's statement wise. Music wise, how important did you all ever have a conversation? And I know you did, but I'm leading the question. But did you have a conversation about the musical propaganda and the way that the music was being used as a weapon, the tool of sound vibration being used as a weapon against the people? And what are your suggestions that we should be doing right now off of what you learned from Brother Steve Copeland?
Okay, so not specifically, right? But
Right.
indirectly because it's all connected, right?
Right.
So obviously we know the role that music plays, right? We know
Right.
that. So this internal conflict, I want to go there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
What you're talking about is this internal conflict that Black people have. Now, why do Black people have this internal conflict that they're dealing with? Because internally, at the authentic essence of who and what we are, we know exactly what it is that we desire. or we know our intentions. It's there, right? Now it may be submerged in programming and things of that nature, but it's there. Maybe submerged in fear and trauma and all of that, but it's there. So we know that we're doing things that's directly contradictory to what it is we know we should be doing. That's where that comes from. So all these things that people are doing that they know they'd rather be doing something else, but they're not working towards the something else. That's that internal conflict and struggle that we deal with. That struggle of fitting into westernized European culture. You see what I'm saying? Versus the things that may be inherently, innately African, whatever that may mean to a person, right? Or what's inherently, innately connected to that person's purpose or vision. Listen, if you're not living your vision, your purpose, and all of that, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. Every day is going to be a day of struggle. Because you're not, it's almost like being fake. Although it may not be intentional.
Right.
Some people are intentionally fake and fraud. We know that. Although it may not be intentional, but in essence, that's what a person is living. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes all the sense.
Now, so let's go into this music industry. So when you deal with the music industry and we talk about music and things of that nature, first of all, music industry is not hip hop. That's a major issue that we don't seem to understand. Hip hop and the music industry are two different entities. Like hip hop is never dead. You just in the wrong place looking for it.
Right.
You understand? Or that hip hop is in you, but instead of you dealing with you over here dealing with this artificial construct that's mimicking really only one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Which is the MC, right? So the MC is being mimicked as a quote unquote rapper in the music industry, even though rapper is not necessarily a negative connotation. If you go back to 60s, rapper is not a negative connotation, right?
H-Rap Brown, all day.
Correct. When you talk to Amdi of the Watts Prophets, rapper was not a negative connotation. But now that you deal with the music industry, it's a negative connotation.
Right.
See what I mean? So again, we're talking about something that's being filtered, not through us, but being filtered through the enemy or the system or however we want to look at it. Now, when you look at who's running that, obviously it's not us. So our benefit is not going to be at the forefront. And even if it was us, doesn't mean our benefit would be at the forefront.
Right.
So that's something we need to think about. But as far as the music, the lyrics is not just the lyrics. It's also the music itself. Both of those things are on both sides of the spectrum. It can be beneficial and agreeable, or it can be disagreeable and problematic. It goes both ways. Now, when you're dealing with true hip hop, we know what that means. But when you're dealing with the music industry, now you're talking about an attack on the people. You understand? Now, I want to make this clear. How it affects us versus other people, there is a difference because other people have not experienced what we've experienced. No one.
Right.
Nobody. Not Jewish people. No one has experienced what we have experienced. Let's just put that on the table.
Right.
And this ain't about victim this, victim that. This is what it is. No one. So we know that there's a different effect that these things have on us based on a consistent programming that have existed not only decades, but centuries. So we're clear about those things. And this is why I mentioned healing. Oftentimes when we talk about activism, organizing, revolution, and all these other things, healing is not really a word that people want to hear. But you're not going to have those things until healing takes place. Not efficiently. There's a difference. Now, this healing that I keep referring to, this transformation that I keep referring to, is what's going to empower people. And when I say healing, I'm talking about dealing with the central nervous system, dealing with the subconscious mind, dealing with the neurological self, because what you pose, that's what it attacks. So that the lyrics, the beats, the music, that's what it's attacking: the central nervous system, the subconscious mind, and the neurological self. Now, when you deal with those three systems, what are you dealing with? Pathology. What is pathology? Pathology is what you do the most, what you do consistently. That's pathology. So this is why we tap into so many different emotions and feelings and all these other things neurologically. This is why hormones are offset and things of that nature, because those things have not been dealt with, period. Once those things are beginning to be dealt with, now you will see people coming out of fear, coming out of their traumas. Now, when people are coming out of their fears and coming out of their traumas, what does that mean? They can start operating in their authentic self, who they really are, not who they pretending to be based on fear. See, the system make you pretend to be certain things so you can get certain things. That's what the system does.
Right.
And fear is what allows that to happen for people. But once you deal with the fear and the trauma, and you start dealing with your authentic self and who you really are, that's when you're able to start doing things that will better benefit you, your family, and even our people, for those who are accepting.
Oh, yeah. I overstand. I'm 100% correct with you. One of the reasons why we even doing the music, myself and a couple of brothers, we call ourselves the Vengers, is because we're over the age where they told you you're supposed to stop, so they can keep that control over what you're saying and the sounds that are coming out. And we wanted to make sure that we continuously put that in that area and other areas as well, but put that maturity forward into what the music is going to do, what it needs to do right now, what it's going to do, and not just saying, hey, we don't like what you're doing, but showing this is how it gets done. And then taking that model and moving it over into community work, and taking that and moving it over into your family life, and taking that and moving, it's a constant. So the words that we're all saying in there is something that we live, we follow, we're doing. If we don't, we check each other to make sure that we're on point, and we have enough respect for each other, because we love ourselves enough to recognize the care and concern in each other to do this music-wise. However, we also know that the enemy will see this as a high-level threat. You know what I mean, when it comes to music, especially what they call hip hop or rap right now. I consider myself a motivational vocal expressionist just because I wanted to change the connotation of what they changed the connotation of. And I love MCs, I love the wordplay, but there's a lot of ego there. And you know what I'm saying? I can respect a rapper's aspect of showing off whatever they have in skills and talent, but they're doing it for the material. You know what I mean? So the spirit of rebellion, the spirit of retribution, the spirit of exposing has been removed from a lot of this, over the flow, over the beat, over, everything else that isn't as important as what's being said, and then what you do with what's being said. So I say all that to say, it was teachers like Steve Coakley who showed us the blueprint. You know what I mean? Not even rapping, but as a rapper, as an MC, as a motivational vocal expression, as a speaker, as a lecturer, showed us the blueprint of how we address these things without the fear, but knowing there's going to be repercussions, being prepared for those repercussions, but going harder and harder every time at it until we break it down. But it's also something that helps us keep the faith that it's going to break down. We're going to do it, because a lot of people won't do anything because they don't see it. You mean, especially with the young heads, a lot of young people are on that. So, and the young people that you come encounter with, how do you address what was said then, what's being said now, and what needs to be done for the future.
Okay, so first, have you heard of the McCarthy era?
Yes.
Okay. Have you studied it?
I'm gonna say no for right now.
No, that's okay.
No.
No, that's okay. Study it. And the reason I'm saying it is because it will help you to understand just how important what you're saying and what you and your people are doing, why it's so important.
Right.
You understand? So study that McCarthy era, brother. It's needed and it's necessary. That speech is needed and necessary. Don't think people aren't listening. Don't think you're not planting seeds. You understand what I'm saying? It's not about how many. It's about the one.
Right.
That you get to that fulfills its so-called potential. That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Each one teach one. So like, just so you understand, so for me, I work with people one-on-one. I don't care about talking to thousands of people. I used to. I don't now. Now it's more about those who are serious. I work one-on-one with them. So every day I work one-on-one with people. People who are serious, people who are ready to get to the next level, one by one. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about. Now, as far as the youth are interesting. They're different. They're a lot different than my generation, Generation X, the generation that preceded me, and even the generation that's after me. So the youngsters are very different because they come into a technological world. We didn't come into a world that was so lopsided with technology.
Right.
The generation that preceded me didn't even really deal with technology, like in your hands type of technology is what I'm saying. Virtual reality and all these different things. Obviously, my generation, Generation X, the technology kind of came in with us.
Yeah.
However, we still rather be outside.
Yeah.
Right? Making up games, doing whatever, using our minds. So the technology was a back seat still.
Right. That was nice and all, but yeah.
Right. Now the generation that came after us, now you start seeing it more technological driven. And even to prove this, there was a study that was done by the military. It had to be the Army or the Marines. I don't remember which one. But one of them did a study, and they were talking about how the majority of the people who come in end up getting anterior cruciate injuries, which is a knee ligament injury in the knee, ankle injuries, but just a lot of type of injuries that they weren't getting before.
Right.
Why is this generation getting all these injuries? Because this generation is not outside. They're not in shape. They're playing games. They're sitting in front of the computer. They're on their phones, right? So this is a study that the military did. So it shows you the offset and the imbalance that's taking place. So from a physical perspective, these children or young adults aren't physically up to par in general as the prior generations. All right. So these children are different because of the advent of technology. So in saying that, not just physical, but also psychological and emotional. So it's a lot of different changes and things that's taking place that we may not even take into account is actually happening, because what's happening is their brains are being rewired differently than when we were children. My generation, generation prior to me, generation after me, they're wired differently. So communication is different. Reading books are different. They'd rather watch a 3-minute clip than read a book. So a lot of things, because of technology, shortcut right now, no process. So that means in order to deal with them, there's some things that we have to change. One of those things we have to change is getting right to the point. With them, we got to get right to the point. They're not about to listen to a whole lot of what we love to listen to.
Right.
They love to sit in front of the elders and the master teachers and just take in 3 hours.
Right.
They don't, with them, you got to give it to them in 3 minutes. Like you got to hit them quick for them to want to stay and listen or to internalize it. You understand? So a lot of things we have to do to make sure that they can be in alignment with what we're saying. So I think that's something we have to, as teachers, we have to do better at and understanding because of our experience where they are and why they're there. Like this conversation, a lot of people don't even have. Like they don't even understand the difference of why the children think differently, why their minds operate or brains operate differently than ours. Like it's not happenstance or by chance. It's reasons for it. Like even if we got into what virtual reality does to a child's mind, more or less an adult, but a child, what it does. Right. So it's a lot. It's a lot. But at the end of the day, it's about our example. The best communication is our example, because that's what they really watching. You understand what I'm saying? So like what you do, brother, they need to see that. They need to hear that. And they need to see you moving like that. Moving in that consciousness that y'all spitting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They need to see y'all moving like that. Because at the end of the day, it might not be today that they get it. It might be 10 years from now.
Right.
That's what planting seeds mean. They might have to live 10 years of life or 1 year. You don't know.
Right.
Or they may never get it.
And you gotta be satisfied with that as well.
Your job is to plant the seed. That's it. That's all you can do is plant the seed. The harvest is gonna do what it do or don't do. But you got to plant the seed for it to happen. So that's what you do is what you do. You keep doing what you do and keep getting better at what you do. Then you master what you do. Then you can teach other people to do what you do. And they can get to a level of mastery because you have. And you just continue to do that. That's what it's about. So you start with you and work your way from there. You got a crew, that's wonderful. That's more people planting seeds.
Exactly.
So be that example. So be the example of this powerful spoken word, MCing or whatever it is. You be the example of that. The beats, the music, all of that. Y'all be the example of that. And that's how y'all move, and y'all move in power. Like y'all be the influence as opposed to the other stuff being the influence.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? That's power. You be authentic. That's power. Make everybody want to be like you instead of you being like them. That's the power. This brother, knowledge born to tell you, when it comes to the stuff I deal with, it's my lane. It ain't nobody to compare me to. And this is not bragging. He will tell you. It's my lane because it's authentic. I'm not out here trying to be my teachers or anybody else. I'm out here to be the best me that I can be. I learn from them. They sharpen my sword, but I'm out here to be the best me that I can possibly be.
One of them think he about to leave here without sharing what that is with the family. See how that goes? You see that?
Yeah.
He thought, okay, we're gonna come on and talk about Bobby Steve. To still do Knowledge Radio, we still support and promote our artistry and our craft. So before you go, Bobby, can you share some of the things that you want to share about who you are and what you do?
Okay, well, I'm mainly known for two things. Well, at this time, I'm mainly known for two things. Of course, I have a long history of different things, but the main things I'm known for, two things. Spiritual technology. Spiritual technology is primarily us tapping into the greater essence of who and what we are. So that's our imagination. That's our intuition. That's our subconscious mind, our central nervous system, our neurological self, healing ourselves, and transforming ourselves, empowering ourselves to not succumb to fear, to not succumb to trauma, to know how to deal with these things so we can be the true quote unquote guys and goddesses that we are. That's spiritual technology. So I have a whole platform that deals with that. I do one-on-ones, the empowered technology mastery system. So I do one-on-ones. I train people practically every day. It's a monthly system. That's that. All right. That's what I do every day. And then there's people know me for dealing with artificial intelligence, transhumanism, the singularity, basically all things technology. All right. The spiritual technology is for us to overstand our power to deal with those other technologies. We are the original intelligence. I prove that, I teach that, I train that, I assist people to tap into that which is already in them. That's what I do. As you mentioned earlier, I've written 14 books. Anyone who wants to contact me in regards to the books or in regards to one-on-one working with me can just contact me. My email is Siddiqui Bakari, Sadika, Siddiqui, excuse me, Sadiki Bakari, Siddiqui Bakari at hotmail.com. Siddiqui Bakari at hotmail.com. Or you can also Facebook me or Instagram me, Siddiqui Bakari. Once again, the spelling Sadiki Bakari. So you can contact me that way. Man, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for putting this together for Brother Steve Coakley. It's needed. What y'all do in y'all lives is very important. Continue to do it. Never feel like you're alone in doing it. Just keep doing it. That consistency is important. You never know who you're touching. You never know what lives you're changing. That's what this work is.
Yes.
It's just about doing it. Like you mentioned, brother, we're not really honored in doing this work. It's not that type of thing. Like a lot of times it goes voiceless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But we keep doing the work. And that's what it's about. And those who plug in will plug in. Those who you assist in changing their lives, those seeds that you plant, they'll be planted. And you'll do your part. And that's what's important. So I just want to thank y'all, man, number one, just for having me on to honor someone like Steve Coakley, man. I'm grateful for that. I'm just grateful to have the time that I was able to have with him, to learn what I learned from him and to pass on what I can pass on. And that's it, brother. Appreciate both of y'all.
Oh man, thank you for being. And I'm gonna send you this music, what I call Muse Think. It ain't music,
okay.
It's Muse Think. I'm gonna send that to you. You know what I mean? Since now I got your email,
yeah,
you go, you gonna get it. You gonna get all of it. You know what I mean? The new stuff and my new album as well. But you know what I mean? I'm a Generation X or two. You know, I'm born 71. But you know what I mean? I watched things happen, and I ain't gonna let it continue to happen without planting that seed, without cultivating that seed, and without making sure I water that plant and make more. You know what I mean? I want a farm. You know what I'm saying? I need a farm. I don't need just one plant. I need an entire farm. So
that's right.
Salute. Right. You know what I mean? Salute to you, God.
Salute. That's right. Appreciate y'all.
All right, Baba. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Anytime, brother.
All right. Well, you know we're gonna link soon.
Absolutely.
What's that?
Oh, Steph. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Powerful show as usual. You mean GodVersations, divine GodVersations. This is what happens when you build with the God mind. You know what I mean? At all spots, at all times. Y'all see. And again, if you don't know who Steve Coakley is, first of all, shame on you. Shame on her. You know what I'm saying? You should know. And if you don't, remove that shame by going ahead and searching, finding. Reach out to Steve Coakley Jr. II. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram. You mean throw him the ducats, get the information, and trust. It might be old to you, but it's right now happening. It's happening right now. And you need to see that that inspiration, that fearlessness that the brother was talking about. You need to feel that energy on a regular basis to shake off that colonizer mind, to shake off all that training that you got right in yourself, and say, yo, make this choice. Make this choice for yourself and for your betterment. Because like the brother Steve Coakley said, none of this is promised to you. So you might as well go get what you need to get right now. Don't be shook about it. Go get it. You know what I'm saying? Then you mean when you listen to the Avengers, yeah, I'm plugging. But when you listen to the Avengers mixtape, what you're gonna hear on the mixtape is YouTube samples of convos coming, and brother Steve Coakley is right in the middle of that, talking about, you know what I mean, the resistance, and the resistance is a necessity, and it may be something small to you, but so is the wick on top of the dynamite.
Yeah, we got one more before we go, but let me just shout out a couple of people who came through here. I'll be forgetting to do that.
Yeah, I don't even see it.
I was in the audience, you know what I'm saying? I know y'all got person, but we, you know what I'm saying, we got university up in here. You know? I
can't even see the comments, so I don't even know what's happening.
We don't need you to see the comments. We need you focused, because you focus at the God core. Okay, the God correspondent in the building.
Yeah.
So shout out to the new member. We got a new member. You understand? Shout out to Halim McCandy for being a new member. So
the
function just got turned on today. So another way to support our initiative 3K to 3K is like this. You can get a monthly subscription. We got 3 tiers up there. You know? So shout out to the new DTK affiliate. You see what I'm saying? We got DTK affiliate. We got DTK invested. And we have another tier. We got 3 tiers. You see what I'm saying? So 1, 2, and 3. You know, it's a monthly subscription. We shout you out. We got business. Whatever you want to plug, we get you on. We can get you on once a month. And, you know, have you promote your business, promote your brand. We'll shout your brand out, shout your business out, shout you out, and get access to exclusive content, because some of these things are going to be available for members only. See what I'm saying? So for those who have vested, that's another shift after this 3K to 3K. So after 3K, things are going to look different. You see what I'm saying? Things are going to look different, long overdue. So going into the build year, the build or destroy year, some things are going to be fortified and some things are going to be destroyed. So
yes,
only way you be tuned in is that you tuned in. And we got this 3K for 3K initiative. Okay, we looking to raise 3K for 3,000 episodes. You know, that goal, we're looking to reach that goal by the end of August. I won't give the date, but I'll say the end of August, the first day of September. So we got that initiative is going, and you know, we're challenging those folks to show their support. You know, been around and established for 7 years now. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, we need the support. We're going to do what we want to do regardless, but we want to do it with those who have the ability to commit. You know, this is a commitment. You know, $4 a month. You understand what I'm saying? You know, whatever that is, you know, whatever that is, it's something to show your commitment, to show your connection, your drive. You see what I'm saying? So you could buy a membership. You know, we have merchandise. You can buy merchandise. You know, so DTK affiliated, DTK elevated, and DTK invested. So DTK elevated is $15 a month. And there's certain membership perks. If you click on there, you look at membership, you see the tiers, you see what you get involved with each. And the last one is DTK invested. You know, we're looking for investors to invest, and that's $100 a month. So we have these 3 tiers here that's available, and you get all of the perks of all of the other tiers, and then you get some special tiers. So, look at that. Look to invest. If you're an investor looking to invest in a sound platform that is pushing our agenda only forward. This never have been co-opted, never will be co-opted. That is an absolute statement. Y'all know me, I don't really make too many absolute statements, but that is an absolute statement. This will only, always, and forever be for our people only. Okay? So if you're an investor, this is what you're investing in. You're investing in yourself and you're investing in your future. That's what you're investing in. You're investing in yourself, investing in your future, our collective future, and our individual future. So, your business, your product, your services, your mind, your intellectual property, and the proper representation of your narrative. Aren't you tired of being distorted? Aren't you tired of have to explain away the misrepresentation? Aren't you tired of all of the things that you ingest and consume being harmful and poisonous to you? If you are, then invest in a place where we do the knowledge. See, you got first-hand knowledge, first-hand experience. We didn't just come together and was like, yo, blah, blah, blah. Like, nah. We searched out somebody that could give you first-hand knowledge and experience. Could share those experiences with you. The family of Baba Steve Coakley is watching. We love them, we honor them, we have a relationship with them. So it's not like I'm just out here willy-nilly. We just not out here willy-nilly. Like, nah, we with the family. You see what I'm saying? So when we come together and relate with one another, it's a family experience. I told one of my fam yesterday, like, I don't have fans, I got fam. Family always work. Fans, they go out.
Yeah.
If you ever had a fan in the crib and the joint just went out, what good is it?
Yeah, it's just hot now.
And then the function of the fan is to circulate hot air. So, I'm sure you want a fan.
Yeah.
Or you want a fan. So, irregardless of whom or what, they got you. You see what I'm saying? So, come to the fan. Come be affiliated. That opportunity. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to buy any merchandise, you can just make a God Nation. Not donation, make a God Nation.
God Nation.
You see what I'm saying? So you can support Do Knowledge Radio via Cash App, $ Knowledge More Allow, or PayPal.me/Do the Knowledge Radio. If y'all been watching or y'all heard through the grapevine, we are responsible for a footprint in the community with our youth and with our elders. We feed some of the youth in our community 5 days a week. And we've been doing so since the onset of the covert. We've been helping our elders and, different people in our community, battered women in shelters, folks that's homeless on the street. These are all the things we've been doing over the years that we can share. There's other things that we do that we'll never share because you definitely, if you know, you know. But that community outreach work on top of these other aspects, these multimedia aspects that are there. You may not want me to speak at your event, but I can host the fuck out your event. You may not want me to say nothing, but in the host capacity, you understand? In the host capacity,
he's a wonderful host. He's a wonderful host.
Your physical or your virtual event. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can do that physically or virtually anywhere in the world with no problem. And if you are looking for some strategic planning, one who's going to walk you through the ethers of your mind and create a strategic situation for you to be empowered and for you to have an action plan and some action steps. You can do that as well. DTK Strategic Planning Services, and also, DTK Youth Empowerment Services. So if you have them youth there from 7 to 18 years old, we got a program for them. Virtual and physical, we got programs for them that we're looking to with this installation. This is why the 3K for the 3K is so important, to be free. To be free. So if we secure what we need to secure to do what we need to do, it'll be free. If not, then we have to work out a situation for payment. So this is why the goal is important. I know y'all might hear, things, but directly, mouth to ear, like, this is what it's for. And we need to support. All of the programs that are on this station, they all need your support, every one of them, in order for them to do what they need to do. For their initiatives, they have goals, they have aims, they have objectives individually, and we have a collective goal. The continuing of this broadcast and what this broadcast creates the space to do in the larger community where Black people are. So this isn't just, we on a show for show's sake. Some folks, they do that. That's all they have to offer. All they have to offer to you is an argument. All they have to offer you is some degradation of Black people. You could tune into a platform and you can, subscribe your attention. That's the highest form of payment that one can receive, and they call you nigger. That's what they call you. You understand? Like, this is all they have to offer you. Call you nigger or call you the B word. You understand what I'm saying? Or the combination of you understand what I'm saying? Like, so where in it lies our responsibility for the betterment of our people. You can better yourself, and that adds to the betterment of the collective. You can better yourself, you can better your family, and that'll better your future. That'll take care of yesterday, today, and tomorrow by you bettering yourself. So the platform that celebrates your betterment, not capitalizes off your detriment.
Say it. Wait. Say that again. Say that again, because I need them to hear that again.
Bar?
That's a bar. That's a bar. Double deuce bar right there.
Yeah,
deuce.
A platform that celebrates your betterment, not capitalizes off your detriment. It's right here before you. Persistent and consistent.
God, yeah.
We stalking you, basically.
Yeah.
We stalking you to be better. Like, we after you. We after you to be better. Like, yo,
hey, what do you think?
I heard you doing something. I heard you doing something something great.
Where you at? Get over here. Tell people about it. I pity the fool.
Come on over here.
Yeah.
We after you to celebrate your greatness. There's no shows about the detriment. Now, correction is one thing. There is some correction that happens on this platform. But we are not after you. We're not after us to degrade.
I don't want to
decimate or destroy. We only here to uplift.
We don't want to fight you to fight the honky. We heard him. Right. We don't want to do that. Right. But we will. But we don't want to do that.
Right. So, yeah, this is where we are. This is where we are. We need your help and support. We need your organic solidarity. And whether you subscribe, whether you share, whether you like, whether you comment, whatever you do, whatever your level of participation is, and us gaining ground and us being able to create a space for our future, whatever this is. Because these things will be around. And whenever a people lose their way, they look back forward. So when they look back in the legacy and the life, what will they find? They asked Baba Steve, peace and blessings be upon him, about a book. Like, why don't you write a book? When you gonna write a book? When the book coming out? He says, you ain't listening to these lectures? You got thousands of them. You see what I'm saying? You ain't listening to these lectures. All of these lectures are books.
Yeah.
So you have the chance to go into the archives of a mind of a man who cared so much, who sacrificed so much, who gave so much to give us so much. So the covert 19 and all the whole situation and all that, he gave us that back in 2000.
Yeah.
Between 2000 and 2002. When he went through the Patriot Act bills and talked about quarantine and talked to us about vaccines and all of that, he gave it all. This was all in the bill that was signed into law, the Patriot Act 1 and 2. Did we know that?
They built the sidewalks because they knew you was coming.
Did we know that?
He told you about the sidewalks.
You see what I'm saying? Like, did we know that? Did we know, okay, did we have our fists talking about, yo, whoever crashed into the towers and all this other shit? This Patriot Act, these bills that were signed into law. Now, our enemies did some talk about it, but they didn't talk about that. They didn't talk about it. They didn't give us the details and the depth that we received.
Right.
And what did they call our brother? The godfather of black conspiracy. So yeah, we're conspiring over here. We're conspiring for the greatness of our people and the decimation of our enemies. So I just wanted to share that real quick. Man. We could do the knowledge. You could do your commercial. We do our commercials real quick, and then I end off with another clip. Because on the battlefield, we don't have no confusion, so we won't have any confusion. So
Right.
That at the end. But let's do the knowledge real quick.
Let's do the knowledge real quick.
Let's do the knowledge real quick. Let's do that.
Edge of madness.
Once you've heard the madness, everything else is just cheap whiskey.
Most high Christianness, mental abolitionists with the vision gift, seeing the deliverance from the ignorance, cognitive dissonance. Future I envision this. On and off the mic, I speak right like this is what the mission is. I know the wisdom biz and overstand like who know and bear that witnesses. I am the power refined, God man. Equity too high to equal the caveman. God's son, true builder of the land. Destroyer of the demons, I'm a poppin' where they stand. Word of biz, born exposing, oppose a plan. Stinky Benny, microphone Jones with a force hand. The next level cipher writer, spark the minds, I light the fire. Call me Mr. Mystifier, I'm used to gift to lift us higher. With the frequency that frequently fit, inspire. Elders and young thugs that do what they do, where they do what they dumb. They lazy, they think we dumb. We put the work in system that a system to be numb. Make them good Christians, but don't link them to where they from. So I write rhymes with them ancient guidelines. I fight crime sitting on the sidelines. But when they got the blind eyes, I just treat them like they dumb.
When knowledge get done, unified we're one. The race we run, before they shot that gun.
Do the knowledge.
When knowledge gets done, unified we won. The race we run, before they shot that gun and run.
To the knowledge.
walk with me. Twist your loud, get your double shots of yak. Sit down, have a talk with me. I'm from an era where certain shit just couldn't fly. You tell another man, suck your dick, you might die. These new dudes got it confused, thinking it's a game. Until somebody hitting at their ass, bringing the pain. But that's the plan, they want us to kill ourselves. Our existence is up to us, no one else is responsible for raising our daughters and the queens and our sons and the kings. Teaching them everything about necessary tools we need to use for survival. It's way bigger than reading Qurans or the Bible. That's gonna go over the heads of many. Thick skin, homie, I got plenty, so I'll be ready for the backlash and slander coming from my own people. It's sad to say, but we'll never equal our full potential as long as we following what they teach us, telling lies, all in 8 books, it never reach us. At least us, the ones with some knowledge of self. But trying to wake my people up is a struggle with self. Instead of begging for a seat at their table, let's build one. As soon as they try to violate, let's kill one. That's where my heart at. A couple 100 years of the same treatment gave us Obama, so we think we even. I ain't believing none of this bullshit them puppeteers speaking, telling us lies each and every weekend. Banana in the tailpipe tactics. To tell the truth, I feel we moving backwards. We got a lot of actors playing the part, but it ain't in their heart, so what's it worth? Got brothers dressing up like chicks toting the purse. Everybody capitalizing off us. We ain't too far from giving up our seat on the back of the bus.
When none get done, unified we're one. The race we run, before they shot them gun. When none get done, unified we won. The race we run, before they shot them gun. To the knowledge.
Us against the world and all bets is off. Grab a machete, get ready, it's time to get it on. Call up your peeps, get the heat, who down to let it off. Freedom or death, we bout to set it off. Us against the world and all bets is off. Grab a machete, get ready, it's time to get it on. Call up your peeps, get the heat, who down to let it off. Freedom or death, we bout to set it off. It all came to me in a dream. We bout to paint the town red, black, and green. Can't nobody kill our children, smack our queens. We gon' make it through the rapture clean, unafraid to blast the things. They gon' hate it when we crash the scene. Been too big for our britches, they couldn't match our jeans. Tried to put out the spark, now we spreading gasoline. Ready to bust and blow. Trust we know it's more than combustible. But we rather be clutching throats than picking cotton. Best believe freedom getting gotten. Liberation move everything around me. Divine make it, tell them bury me where they found me. We coming for the county, knowing that they coming for their bounty. It's now or never. Wars for the hopeless, revenge for the young, faith for the broken. I can hear the motherland crying from across the ocean. Us against the world and all bets is off. Grab a machete, get ready, it's time to get it on. Call up your peeps, get the heat, who down to let it off. Freedom or death, we bout to set it off. Us against the world and all bets is off. Grab a machete, get ready, it's time to get it on. Call up your peeps, get the heat, who down to let it off. Freedom or death, we bout to set it off.
Look for me in the whirlwind. Time for Armageddon, let their whirl in. Can you put it on the line? Are you certain? Can you put it on the line? Are you certain? It ain't truly yours if you can't protect it. Your women, your children, your life, your possessions. No more reacting, let's take the offensive. A penchant for vengeance, intensive incentive. Fire, freedom's my only desire. Pain and sacrifice required. Warriors is all I admire. Ancestors guide us. Obituary, Desilees, destiny, laser beam focus, guarantees victory, stockpiling food and water, sharpen up on my shoe tag power.
Us against the world and all bets is off. Grab a machete, get ready, it's time to get it on. Call up your peeps, get the heat, who down to let it off. Freedom or death, we bout to set it off. Us against the world and all bets is off. Grab a machete, get ready, it's time to get it on. Call up your peeps, get the heat, who down to let it off. Freedom freedom or death, we about to set it up.
It all came to me in a dream. We about to paint the town red, black, and green. I'm sending this one out to the black Marine. When you're done shooting at Afghans, come back and show the team how to properly aim and load a magazine. Need to study the basics like how to plant a seed. Imagine being in shackles, hearing your nana scream repeatedly. They raped her, but they didn't break her. We come from a line of warriors, African greatness. Pyramids were built by us, no aliens or spaceships. What I drop is shocking them. Rest in peace to Ben Yakin and the doctrines that I'm dropping. Free your mind from Leviathan. Black babies about to be free. You'll never cry again. Protect the pride. Walking in the wild with my lioness. Singing to gods. I know the question is odd, so I'ma live by example as I smash the facade. It's revolution.
Yeah. Yo, that was great work you did there. Great work, God. I like that. I love that song too. You know what I'm saying? That song, you know, he say, yeah, what do he say? Destiny. You know, I heard that. You know, I forgot to pull it out last night, but I'm gonna pull it out today. Yeah, that was fire right there. As y'all all obviously saw, the 27th of August, Black August. You know what I mean? We're gonna be in New Africa with the RBG Music Festival, the 3rd annual. You see the lineup is ridiculous. It's fire. Everybody on there got something to say and say it in a unique way, and you're gonna really enjoy yourself when you come out, because you coming out. You understand? You understand? You're coming out. I mean, come make sure you do that. Today was the day that we dropped the Vengers project, the Red 9, the beginning. Anybody who wants it from this point on, because it's a free situation, we're giving it to you. You know what I'm saying? It's liberation, liberation lyrics. And so for that to happen, we got to put it in your hands so it can register in your mind and on a conscious.
You said we doing Avengers mixtape listening party next week. That's what you said?
That's what we doing. Dang. That's what we doing. Yeah. We're gonna do.
I literally be stalking. I be stalking.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Stalking people. I need stalking.
Yeah.
That's how we met. That's how we met. I was stalking. I was stalking him.
Yeah, like hey,
like y'all heard you got a conscious costume party going on. Like, what's up, yo? What's up?
Yeah. And he gifted me with what's on the screen right now, you know what I'm saying, which is, for me, building liberation alliance, connecting knowledge. Do the knowledge. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? That's my blackness every day, all the time.
Running up on people.
Yeah.
Running up on Africans. Like, yo, God, what's up, man? What's up?
What you doing? You know, I was just thinking about this. I'm glad you asked me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't be scared. Get up on here and say what you need to say.
Running up on the sisters like, yo, God, what's up, God? Like, hey, I heard, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. So
I don't be doing interviews, God. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Just get on here.
Guaranteed. That wasn't so bad. I like it. Oh, you want a series? Yeah. Let's do that.
You know what I'm saying? He be freedom hustling. You know what I'm saying? He be rocking it. You know what I mean? Because each and every part of these shows, man, help you get through it. Get through everything.
On that point. Like, yo,
we need that. So we on here, we doing it. We gonna be there. Well, the Vengeance thing came out. You need it. Just DM me. My Instagram is SUNDAGR8. SUNDAGR8. Just like the first part right here. You see right there. That's what it is. It's my IG. DM me with your name, where you coming from, and give me your email, and I will send both the mixtape and the EP, so you can have the song separately, but so you can hear the mixtape, because there's clips on there that you need to hear. Clips on there that you need to hear and help it flow. Shout out to DJ Godstick, you know what I'm saying, for doing that. Fleet DJ Zone put it together. I'm hosting the John, but you know what I mean, it's got everything that we talked about today. It's in there. It's in there. You know what I mean? So everything we talked about is in the lyrics. That's look right there. My phone ringing right now. I got a decline. That's God Sticks right now, but it's in there. And y'all just hit me up. Sundiata Brown, the hard correspondent, is my Facebook. I got a bunch of them. Son the Great, you mean such and such, but it's Sundiata Brown, hard correspondent. That one. Hit me in my inbox. I will send you. Give me same thing. Your name, where you from, where you hit me from, and your email, and I will definitely send it out to you. Also, look out for my album it's done, it's ready. Just trying to decide which distributor, which way I'm gonna put it out there. Vintage Season Volume 1. We definitely doing a listening party on Vintage Season Volume 1. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's coming. And like I said, I'll be doing liberation lyrics, man. Until we all liberated. I'm not here for the entertainment. I'm not here to get you laughing and dancing and moving. You know what I'm saying? If you moving in the force, you moving together, you moving in the freedom train, you moving in the line of liberation. That's what you moving for. Outside of that, I don't have no time for the rest of that. You know what I'm saying? You don't neither, for real, people. You don't neither. So just know
we're doing the RBG mix tape every night until the RBG Music Festival. So every night without fail, we're gonna be showcasing some aspects of who's in the lineup, who's performing somehow, some way. So the RBG mixtape sessions will return starting tonight, because before we get off of here, we got to shout out. We shouted out our African retributionary ancestor, the Minister of Information forever, Robert Steve Coakley Sr. Peace and rest be upon him and that divine royal family. It's also our African retributionary elders born day today. His God Day, Baba say Kuo Dinga. So we will have something. We'll have something today, And for those of us who sat with our elder, and for those of us who got a chance to hear his story mouth to ear, it's a story out of this world for him and his queen. Let me shout out the African God woman real quick. The reason why Baba say Kuo Dinga is home is because of his African warrior God woman. He's home. Political prisoner, he's home because of her work. Just think about that.
BLA.
So he's home. He's home because of her work. Queen Mama Nataki, the legacy of Baba Steve Coakley Sr. lives on because of her and those warrior children. Think about that. So that African warrior God woman out here making things happen and going through all of the healing points and the pain points all together. We love you, African warrior God woman, and we will kill for you 100%. Understand? So, yeah, I just wanted to share that because I know, later on. So either to be wrapped up in the knowledge born, what's the science? You see what I'm saying? With the God tent that's going on, or it'd be something separate, and then in addition, do that knowledge born, what's the science after midnight edition. See what I'm saying? So shout out some of the guys in here. My twin sister in here. It's still Gemini season for a couple of more days. You understand what I'm saying? And y'all see this Gemini lineup is something serious. Tomorrow is New African Royalties on Uhuru Academy's own, one of the greatest and wisest God minds of our time. Baba Amin Ojuwo, Born Day, God Day is tomorrow. Okay?
You Geminis.
So, show them some love. understand what I'm saying? Show them some love. Pull up on them. Send them a kite. Send them some dollars. Send them some love. You understand what I'm saying? You know, he is who he is because that African warrior God woman that's next to him, Sawyer. You understand what I'm saying? My sister. You know what I mean? So shout out to our sisters, man. My twin sister in the building, man. The guy Ashe Kenyatta, she in the building. You understand what I'm saying? And son knows the magic of my sister. You understand? And so if y'all came through the God Day experience and y'all heard this magical signal that changed your life, okay?
Yeah.
She is the composer and she is the executor of that magnificent African love song. You understand what I'm saying?
It's amazing.
Black love over here, you know. My Lisa always showing love. This is an amazing God sister that's here for the healing and the restoration of the mind, body, and spirit of our people. Always out there doing that temple work all day, every day.
Always tuning in too. Always reckoning.
Always
you know
tuning in, always showing love, always supporting.
Zulu much
the
love.
The greatest of support. Underground Warrior TV came through today, showing love. You understand what I'm saying? It's always good when you get other platforms that tune in with you and support. So support Underground Warrior TV. I got to slug the name. Underground Warrior TV. Come on. Can't get no better than that right there. The God Che Black is in the building, man. You understand? My wartime general in the building. Every Warrior Wednesday right here on Do the Knowledge Radio, we have Survivor Guide training class. And we also have the Khalid Muhammad Militia Hour by our 5-star wartime general, General King Simon Shabazz. So make sure you tune in for that. You understand what I'm saying? Been with us for the last 7 years or more on the platform. Closer to 40 years in your life. Understand? And that interview with Baba Sekou Odinga was done on that platform, the Khalid Muhammad Militia Hour. Understand what I'm saying? And again, shout out to the elder Halima Candy for becoming an affiliate. Okay? You know what I'm saying? And my brother, man, the righteous black God, RBG Swap boss, man, of the argument league, man. Shout out to my brother, man. Understand what I'm saying? We got legacy and history, man. And come through and support and love him and his queen. They got the King James 13 Anti-Bully Inc. I work for them, so I got to shout out them. I work for them. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I work for them, so we have mechanisms in place for organizations that'll help you through the toughest times of your life. She started that organization after her son had took his life from the horrors and the treachery of bullying. So she helps families cope and prevention work. So shout out to the King James 13 Anti-Bully Inc. organization. 501c3 nonprofit organization. And who else we got? That's what we got right there. Oh, Paranoia Starseed podcast, man. Our sister would be in the building. You understand what I'm saying? Our sister Roxy would be in the building with the time and the date scheduled. So we will hear about her amazing. She's a starseed maker. You understand what I'm saying? A starseed maker. Coming through to share her starseed podcast journey and jewels with the family. Okay, so yeah, we got these connections connected. You know what I'm saying? got these connections connected. So yeah. So what you got before I play this clip? I know you got something. You understand?
Nah, really, I just want to say it's been a pleasure and an honor to be on this show. It's
Where you
always a
gonna
pleasure.
be at tomorrow though? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you
man,
talk
I'm
about
glad.
it?
No, I did not. You mean
See,
say?
look, stalk. I gotta stalk the God mind.
Oh man,
God mind.
yeah, you do, cause you know what I mean. I was RBG'd all up. You know what I'm saying? I was RBG'd all up. But tomorrow, 7:00 to 8:00 on the independent artist stage at Centennial Olympic Park. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you know why I'm doing that. But downtown ATL, Atlanta, the Vengers are going to be on stage. The Vengers are going to be on stage from 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 8:00, and we're going to give you some of what some of that mixtape, some of our tracks, some of what you see here in the videos. You're going to see it live there. You're going to see 8 of us, 7, 8 of us rocking through. There's 9 of us all together, but you're going to see us doing our thing and planting seeds to create the whole farmland, you know what I'm saying, or what needs to be done in the music right now with the music, how we express ourselves, and we bout it, you know what I mean? And I know I'm about it, and I know my brothers is on it, so you know what I'm saying, you definitely gonna get it. And if you ain't never seen me perform, you know what I'm saying, you gonna catch the energy when I get on that stage. If you have seen me perform, come get some of that energy that y'all love when we rock, you know what I'm saying? Because I got a bunch of it. I got a bunch of it ready for you. My ancestors is with me. Shout out to Malik Kalam, Zulu, with me. My brother Biz Bronze, word to Biz, with me. You know, and we constantly representing the ancestors in a proper fashion, in a proper way, and giving you that information via lyrical liberation. Is that a bar? Give me that information via lyrical liberation. That's a bar. So yeah, we definitely bringing you that on a regular basis tomorrow, 7 p.m. That's 6/18. 18. You know what I mean? Born to born. So we're gonna give you that from 7, from the God hour to the build hour. We're gonna be on that stage. DJ Tastic, aka Godstick, is gonna be directing the musical composition, and he gonna open up with a hot banger. So make sure y'all come through for that. And that's, we got other things throughout the rest of the time, but definitely tomorrow, come see us. Come see us. Hey, my phone ringing, man. My phone ringing. Yeah, I don't know if y'all hear that. My phone ringing. I got to go.
Do what you gotta do, man. Do what you gotta do.
Salute. Yeah, I'm gonna miss this last clip of Steve, Baba Steve Coakley.
Check the archives. You know what I'm saying? Check the archives.
I'm gonna check. Yeah, there you go. There it is. Salute, y'all. I'm out of here. One. Peace of God, warn the devil.
All right, so we're gonna end off with this clip from Robert Steve Coakley Sr. Again, shout out to everybody who stayed with us, who sojourned and rocked with us, and everybody who will check out these archives. Tell a God that this is the place. This is the epicenter for the proper propaganda for African life, for African people, for African families, for Black love, Black people, Black power, Black empowerment, and Black future. So we're going to continue to motivate, inspire, educate, train, and elevate. So again, one more call to action. We need your subscriptions, your support, your affiliation. We need you to be affiliated. You see what I'm saying? We need you to be affiliated in some way, some form. We need some level of commitment from you. Like, share, comment, subscribe. God needs. So give of your God being to what we build. And shout out to Siddiqui Bakari. Make sure if that's the space that you're in and you want that one-on-one, gave out his email him or DM him and set that up. Get empowered, get inspired, get that spiritual technology working in you, on you, and through you to be the best version of you. I believe he stressed that on numerous amounts of times throughout him speaking today. Learn to be the best version of you. All right. So we're going to play this last clip right here. And thank y'all for tuning in.
Multiple number of topics, secret societies, New World Order, Boulay, I'm sure.
With the brother Steve is.
Hotel.
Let's see here now. This must not be you. Not you connected to this? No. Okay. I appreciate you Africans coming out to the Black Consciousness Conference so that we could advance your knowledge of information that hopefully, if you're concerned, will allow you to be more effective in your desire to make change for African people. And whenever the brother Steve is given a call for him to share what it is that he knows, everyone knows from what angle, from what temperament, from what standard of fact base that the brother shares from. And this is what I'm known for. Far more infamous than famous. In many cases, an analysis of the enemy will put you at odds with our leadership. Because our leadership has failed to teach their members who the key hunkies are that run the world, because they negotiate with them. And part of their effectiveness as a leader depends upon their ability to contain their membership. And one of the ways you do that is you skew one simple analysis. Who are we fighting against? And yes, like in the title, that is why there is confusion on the battlefield. Where I might stand up and fight the Rockefeller Foundation, I question its right to build and fund a Constituency for Africa project. The Carnegie Foundation, the Ford Foundation, I condemn their right to organize and fund a constituency for Africa, because any analysis of who adversely harmed Africa, you'd come up with Rockefeller, Rhodes, Carnegie, Rothschild. But it's confusion on the battlefield. If C. Payne Lucas becomes the executive director of the enemy's operation to cover its own ass for some shame it produced. And now the perpetrator has financed the response to perpetration, which in fact suggests that's only continuation. So I get in trouble when the analysis comes, because the whole set is dependent upon confusion in the battlefield. Who are we fighting against? Usually when you bring that up, someone will suggest to you, we already know who they are. They will. And you have to think carefully about what they say, because you're witnessing that thing that you're against. You will draw it out like golden seal. Like I got a little abscess, a jaw swollen up over here, putting golden seal on the swelling to hope it sucks the pus right out. And that will happen when you start that level of intense focus on the enemy, because the leadership won't level with the membership. And that put me at odds with the leadership. They don't come to Coakley program, I don't care what city you're in, even though they damn need the lesson. Brother has invested everything he ever had
to demand and command a better focus on who these people are, to widen our ability to influence more people till we have enough to make it happen. It will happen. It will happen with you or without you. That's why we come in the spirit of the Bogart. That's how they got it. That's how we're going to get it back. We're going to be factual, we're going to be right, but we're going to be strong, we're going to make change. And confidence is breeded through information. Knowledge. I know, therefore, shit, I'm going to go do this shit. A thermometer of capability suggests that what I saw in New York at the Million Youth March let me know that though it isn't organized, the Army will materialize at a moment's notice. Because the Army is buried deep in the victim's heart. The victims are tired, but the leadership ain't offered the direct vessel. Yes, it isn't really their responsibility, but shit, you got to beat Newsweek. Time names them somebody special. The news makes them somebody important. Every magazine and book and newspaper article suggests that they should be flaunted. So it's hard getting that out. So that means that it will only provoke itself on a person-to-person basis, which is not bad. If you couldn't be on the television and you couldn't be on the radio, damn, it ain't bad to be person-to-person, because that's the highest level of convincing you could give. So now it is, how many can you get to? Times, how many can you get to? When people tell me, brother, you know you really ain't a brother till you write a book. I said, brother, those people go through those tapes and they find those books, they eat those books up, and then they go get another tape and another tape, and I know they ain't read the book, they got the book. I got the book, but I know they ain't read the book, because behavior is an indicator of the knowledge. I know you know when I see you do. Now, okay, so we get some possum involved. When we had the Million Youth March in New York, on Friday night at 5:30 in the evening, we didn't have but about a couple $1,000 to do some things like put a sound system for 7 blocks long and to insure that system and the engineers and the other things that had to be done, and we had no money. I mean, we all kicked in, it didn't come to a bunch of shit. They picked up the phone and called Master P. Oh yeah, so he just looking down at the pile of his money, he wires $140,000 in 19 minutes. And by 10 minutes to 6, we beat the bell Friday at 6 to go on the street. 140,000. The reason I brought that up was the possum, because if you read into the media, when the whites went to him, what are you doing financing this thing? He said, I didn't know I was financing that. I thought I was sending money to build a playground in Harlem. But for those that you will read it on a direct level, Colin talked to him 9 times in the last 5 hours before the program, and there's no doubt he meant to do what he did. But don't get caught in the possum that may be played in the public to throw off the enemy. But since we don't talk there no way, he sent that across the deadlines. You know, you only know it's right when it's direct. Check? Check. Check mean I understand, we can move on. Check? Check. All right. As a brother, I say humbly as a brother, I'm very proud of the work that we have done across this country without promotion or finance, that we have communicated a focus on an enemy in spite of those who have resisted the computation. You see, if everybody submits the computation and we say, who is the enemy? Everybody bring it in the room. And at the end of this, these will be the top 15 focuses on what is the enemy. That's computation leads to conclusion. Now, you'll watch, people will, we don't need to do this. You will watch them repudiate the 1 + 1 = 2. Now again, 2 things we need. It's 10 things. There's a tape they called The Plan. There's 10 things. A plebiscite on what are we for? What do we want? If we were to build a revolution tomorrow and everybody had to sign up, damn, it got to be something on the menu to make you want to eat it. And it must be something that reflects what you want. And so that's a plebiscite. when Harold Washington became the mayor in Chicago, there was no doubt that he would be the only black candidate because of the plebiscite. A group of credible people called jellers came to the middle, Lou Palmer and others, to be the agreed upon arbitrator of the contest. 50 names on a sheet of paper, sent all over the black neighborhood, to the laundromats, to the grocery stores, door to door, ward to ward, precinct to precinct. They come back. 10 people are selected from the 50. From those 10, 3 were selected. From those 3, 1 was selected. And that became Harold Washington. And when they proposed to him to be the man, he said, well, you got to register 50,000 voters and raise $1 million. They raised 200, they raised $6 million and registered 276,000 voters. But Harold Washington was a manifestation of black folks in Chicago's desire for change. And when they murdered him, it only let me know that it is not the ability to snatch the office that makes one a power activator. It is the ability to maintain and protect those who you appoint for those positions. And after they won, they went to sleep and left him vulnerable to other forces. Sometimes this is done more overtly through the Kennedy assassination, the Malcolm X assassination. Damn, it wasn't but a couple of years they tried to kill Khalid Muhammad right there at University of California, Riverside. Right. Assassination is a tool of political advancement. Only problem is it's generally hunkies doing it. That's a problem. When will the cadre develop where people desire to sacrifice themselves on behalf of black liberation? Maybe you need to treat them good 2, 3, 4 years to build and train them to be expert in compelling change. And that when their moment comes, they stand up on behalf of all of us and live and die for a reason rather than for no reason at all. In many of these other places around the world, people's ability for liberation was based upon the people's for sacrifice. Now you might as well start sacrificing for liberation because you are tolerant on behalf of white liberation. Tolerant, and tolerant is harder on your physical body than sacrifice. Sacrifice is I do this because I want to. Tolerance is I hate fucking going to work. Who in here got a job? The word on the street is if you got a job, you're fucked. I don't mean to belittle those with jobs. Some of those jobs are important, but it's an indicator that there are other priorities than liberation. Will liberation happen on the weekend at the conference or over the Christmas vacation? Nah. Liberation is drop what you're doing, shit, let's get it on. Yeah. In a very strategic, systematic way that at the conclusion of a series of events means change. And I suggest to you as a focus, just as a brother, this is the foundation of the brother's projection to African people, that the foundation of change in America is not the murdering of the president or the vice president or the speaker of the house. It is the destruction of the document that unites the states that makes this a country, the Constitution. Let me hear you say it. Right? The financial system is based upon confidence. The people who tie up the people's money to make sure education and housing and other things don't happen are Congress people. Yeah, they tell you, we just ain't heard them. We ain't put the 3D on to see through the dialogue. They say it straight up. Said the president is a liar. Somebody say, hey, that's the president. That's what the presidents do. You say, hey, that's cool. See, that ain't about nothing. That's what presidents do. They lie. But I say, hey, lying, all right. I ain't into it one way or another. I like the hunkies to tie each other up, take time, slapping hunky left, slapping hunky right. That gives you time to make up your mind. They don't have time to do you. But right now, they're trying to drop what they're doing so that they can giddy on up to you, because on the down low level, they know your ass really getting ready to kick some butt. And they know that because the thermometers around the country will tell them that. Those intelligence communities, and they're here tonight, and they're going to measure your temperament. Is Brother Mukasa in here? I know he's out around the hallway, but Black Power brother. And one of the things that was one of the most awesome things about the moment in New York was that when you holler Black Power to the people and you watch little children, you watch them fist bumping, and you see the intensity with the assertion in the children. I got some films here, and sometime over the period, while I'm in town, I'll have an opportunity to show you much of this film that we have, because we'll have to communicate to you what it was. They will never do it. But that's all right. That's an all right thing or a demand to have to put on those who have something to share. But let's go back to this Constitution. This thing represents a force of an enemy. One thing that is not computed in African people's desire for liberation is a computation on oath takers. Oath takers. People who swore their ass to uphold some secrets with some other lesser lights, who together represent a force who operate in a clandestine way, usually to take advantage of people who are not so well organized. If a Mason wrote the law, and then Masons become law enforcement, county sheriffs, LAPD, prison guards, on up the law enforcement ladder, they become the preservers of the law that their Mason brother wrote. And then come those who submit to the Mason law, who want the privilege of being above the law when confronted with other Masons. That's an unfair advantage to those who are not members. And it subverts the law that they claim to preserve. That's an accusation. That's something in the revolution that will command the confidence that we will do something that is awfully awesome. As far as a computation on oath takers, in one sense, Freemasonry being a focus. Only thing I'm going to spend time telling you, and I don't have many audio tapes with me. I'll be making them over the days of being here. I do have some. But one of the tape deals with the concept of Freemasons coming forth. Francis Bacon developing a fraudulent story to trick hunkies to come from Europe to America, suggesting to them that someplace in America was evidence of white superiority. Of course, it was a lie. You know that. But that was to trick them over here. And when those earlier ones got beat for being invaders, it was hard tricking more of them, so they created a specific legend called Atlantis. And there in Georgia, Oglethorpe called back to the king and put the first Mason thing on the so-called shore. A lot of streets are called Oglethorpe all over America in honor of his excursion on behalf of George, who he then named the state Georgia, and the area of the legend Atlanta. It was a part of a myth game. Hunkies are big on the myth game. They create stories to supplement the facts of their existence. One of the things we know for sure, and don't you ever buckle on this, the hunky has no known origin. Now, when I say that, I'm telling you that the top scholars in white academia have still been unable to link their population to others. There is no link. So they've developed myths. The monkey, then the white man. 8888 white man. Adam and Eve. Creation. Right, but you saw in the X-Files movie, they was down in the earth as a cave dweller, and something else bit them who was down there with them. And together they formed a bond called the white race. And never in their history have they ever been proven to be fair and equal about anything. And one of the things we're going to talk about after oath takers is we're going to talk about those who believe in God. There's nothing wrong with those who believe in God or practice religion, but they have a tendency to have a skewed analysis of the white man. Just because God is in the picture, they fuck up the analysis on the evil.
They do, that's true. Right.
And we're going to have to deal with this. We're going to clean this up to go forward. Deeply looking at the psychology of African people to see if we can translate victory. It's a sustained amount of activity for a sustained amount of time that will lead to a certain amount of conclusions that will make change. And then you must have allies in other countries to protect your game that you will make here. It's an honor that you could be born next to the most brutal and beastly race of people ever to develop in the history of the world. This honky right here in America is the king of all of that. And you're right at it, within striking distance of it. One of the strategies we pull in response to this is there are 40 state capitals: Atlanta, Des Moines, Iowa, Tallahassee, Florida. You start thinking the state capitals where on certain days, black people gonna ring those capitals, arm in arm, just to let other black people know we within striking distance. Don't you let nobody tell you you on some impossible mission to make change. That's the enemy right there. Because when you ask them for computation, you say they ain't even thought it out, so how are they so profound in their conclusions? And then you must know and strike them. I warn you, if you act again without computation, I will suggest you are a perpetrator, and as such, there's something we do to them. You will not be allowed to perpetrate without proof, even marginal, plausible. Better come with something. Okay, those hunkies that then, as a few people, the people on the stage were looking at the country, and together they wrote a law that adversely impact all the rest of the people in the chairs. Fundamentally, that is a violation of every known universal principle. There is no grant to the minority to do anything that adversely affects the majority. That's a violation. That's a crime. That's law breaking on the principle of universal understanding. So, as a basis for change or revolution, that document is considered the organization of a criminal enterprise called America. 13 of them made the first sealing of the bad deal, and everybody else got affected adversely till they had taken the whole thing. I only say that as a base discussion, for when you're pressed to the wall and someone will tell you that you have to be ashamed of fighting against this honky, you just go back to the beginning and remind them it was phony from the jump. And any other point that they want to prove they was less than phony, you say undo what you started and then we can start talking. And that's why those people who are original people get caught up in deals over casinos and other payouts, so that when we challenge this honky, he gonna say, I paid them all. So we be getting to them, look, resist some of this cheese they passing, because we might get the whole shit by one way or another. Now, so these Freemasons, strategy, these Freemasons who penetrate the society, and I can tell you from articles, endangered conspirators, Freemasons who used to be blamed for everything, now seem almost quaint. Can a youth movement rescue them? Time magazine, May 25th, 98, advocating for the youth to come support the law preservers because they are in jeopardy of extinction. The Kabbalah, story promoting the Kabbalah to get little white people of the Jewish religion to get into a mystery system of understanding, to get their youth to organize. Now, isn't it ironic that this was the year of the youth who were organizing, and simultaneously the hunkies are trying to get their youth in the vessels to stand guard for the resurrection? Now, on the home front, in Britain, you know, hunky is how America go, Britain go, American go. There's this historic alliance. In terms of strategy, this article suggests something that's very significant. In Britain, they found out that some of the key criminal enterprises were done by men who happened to also be the Grand Master of their lodge. But also within the lodge were the bailiffs and the sheriffs and the police and the judges, and as such, the judges could not rule against the Grand Master. So criminal enterprises were developing that were protected by the lodge. So the Home Secretary of Britain has suggested that Masons better now voluntarily register with the government. All Masons register with the government. Now, for tying up a group of oath takers who are not necessarily on our side, fuck, do it. I say do it here too. Tie their asses up, make them all register, let you know how dense their penetration of the professionalism, especially law enforcement, is. Let you see that. Now, the Home Secretary is like the president in Britain. He said that if he doesn't get voluntary compliance, the government will pass a law compelling them to reveal lodge membership. Because they found out they couldn't stop crime until they broke
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them that in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the gritty.
Motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.